Yeah, what's going on, people? Welcome. I'm your host, JD Dyer. We get ourselves rated for a long-awaited, long-anticipated press conference as we get to know today who the 5v5 fighters will be representing both Queensberry and Matchroom. I know, it feels like it's been decades in the making. It's because it has been. And I know you couple that alongside, of course, what else we got to anticipate and look forward to, crowning the king of the 175 division. There'll be so many guests joining us on the broadcast today. But we're going to start off with someone that I know is a good friend of mine, right? When we talk about the big guns, I have to bring in Carl Frampton. Carl, look, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. I remember when His Excellency spoke about shaking up the boxing landscape. Yeah. Did you ever think you would sit in a room where Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren are about to do a co-promotion and put their best five fighters up against each other?
Honestly, no. But it's great for our sport. I think boxing's in a really healthy position at the minute. I mean, if you can get two of, in my opinion, the world's best promoters, they are number one and number two, I think, right now anyway, to work together. Then we're going to, hopefully he can maybe try and persuade Top Rank and Al Heyman and Golden Boy and everybody else. But this is what we need. This is how the best fights get made when promoters are working together. And I think this is absolutely massive for boxing.
Sensational. When you think about the changes, and I want to allude to His Excellency first because he talked about shaking it up, he talked about doing all of these things. You know how long-winded this rivalry has been, this beef has been between Frank and Eddie. What are they thinking right now? I know they're both competitors. Speaking to both of them, they're both a little bit excited. But what are they feeling right now in terms of nerves?
I'm not sure. Look, they'll both want to win, and obviously they're men that's full of pride. I don't know. I think it's going to be difficult. Like, obviously, we know, me and you know, who the fighters are, who the 5 are, but obviously we can't talk about that yet. But both guys, they'll want to whitewash each other. Of course they will, and they'll get one up on the other.
It's been the hardest thing in the world, kind of keeping that to ourselves, especially within the boxing community, not wanting to turn around and talk about the names that will be listed. This is the place in the stream to turn around and see the draw live. We will be going straight over to the stage that's just behind us, so you can see all of the fighters as they get revealed, and you can wait up for yourselves. So make sure you're involved in the comments, the questions, everything else in between. But I'm going to come back to you, Carl, because I think about this journey, man, and I genuinely don't want it to be underplayed or downplayed. At one point, I remember Eddie Hearn alluding to the fact that he'd never even had a conversation with Frank. And now you're talking about a cross-promotion in Saudi Arabia, 1st of June. All of the eyes will be watching naturally because of the Undisputed fight, which we'll get onto in a second. But I want to know, which one of the divisions are you most excited to turn around and see in action?
Well, I suppose we can give a little insight. Well, no, we know the divisions. I think all the fights are quality, but me being a former featherweight,
I knew you was going to say it. I knew he was going to say it.
The featherweight division is most appealing to me.
I can't turn around and allude into who's involved in the featherweight division, but there's been a few names, naturally looking at the stables of both and seeing obviously the quality that both fighters in terms of both stables have. There's a lot of names that they could turn around and put forward.
Yeah, there's a list of fighters. We know who the fighters are. I mean, this is difficult having this conversation because I don't want to give too much away, but for me, the featherweights, I think, is like all the 5 fights, really well matched, really competitive, hard to pick a winner. But just because it's one of my old divisions, that's the one I'm most excited about.
Are you impressed with the consistency? When I say consistency, I'm talking about the quality of the bills that we're getting on a regular basis. I feel like it was only yesterday we was in there reckoning Battle of the Baddest that's been already occurred. You've got this one and so many more that's turned around and talking. We haven't even spoken about the other Undisputed fight, the Ring of Fire.
Yeah, look, I'm surprised. To be honest, when the Saudis are involved, no, I'm not. You know that the money they're pumping and throwing into boxing to try and get the best to fight the best, and they're trying to make Saudi a destination for people to go and visit and tourism and everything else. Does it surprise me? No. I think that these guys will do whatever they can to make the best fight the best, and we're starting off with a cracker here.
The third member of our team will be joining us. Steve Bunce will be on the broadcast with me really soon. No doubt about it, you can imagine Steve Bunce is being busy and doing what he needs to do as always, interviews. But I'm going to ask you, and I'll ask Buncey as well afterwards, when you think about captains, knowing that the captain in this circumstance gets an extra point in terms of for getting his victory, if you were Eddie Hearn, what division would you give the captaincy to?
Well, again, knowing who the fighters are without saying their name, I would give the captaincy to one of the heavyweights.
Oh, okay.
I don't know which heavyweight I would give it to, and I think the reason for it is because he's probably the most established fighter on that list.
So you're doing it in terms of established, you can handle the occasion rather than the opposite.
Experience and everything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you were sitting in Frank Warren's shoes right now, looking at that, would your factor be the same thing, or would you look at it for the best mismatch?
A little bit differently. I think there's a guy in the middleweight division. That's in the Queensberry roster. Speaks very sensibly. As a very, very good fighter as well. Not a world champion yet, but at one point will be a world champion in my opinion. I would give it to him.
So what about the growth of Saudi Arabia? Let's talk about it, right? Everyone's talking about when they first made their explosion. Historically, we've seen it. New York, Vegas has been the home of boxing. Then, of course, Great Britain had their stance and what they're continuously doing. But what do you make of the sort of development of Saudi Arabia and what they consistently seem to be doing over there?
I mean, I don't think you can complain. Obviously, I mean, when you look at it, the atmospheres aren't close to what we can create in the UK at the minute, but I don't think there's many places in the world that can create an atmosphere like we can in the UK. But I mean, I would have loved to have been in my pump when the Saudis were involved in boxing to get a couple of fights out there, because this is a dangerous sport and fighters deserve to be paid well. They're not getting paid anywhere better. So I mean, I'm all for it, and I think that the fact that Turki Al-Sheikh is really a boxing fan, he's a knowledgeable boxing fan, he knows what he's talking about, he wants the best to fight the best.
I know usually you can expect to see Dev on this promotion. He's actually on stage right now doing a couple of rehearsals as we get ready for the press conference, which is only minutes away here live on the stream. But I want to ask you a couple of more questions, because there he is over your shoulder, you can see him. Look at him.
Bonsi, jump in.
He knows how to make an entrance.
Did you in the middle, Bonsi?
He knows how to make an entrance. And you know what, it's so perfect, because I wanted to start diving into the Undisputed conversation. So obviously a man that needs no introduction in Steve Bunce. First of all, Buncey, how you feeling? How you feeling today? I know you've been busy behind the scenes getting a flavour for the fighters. We haven't revealed any names. Carl's done fantastic, by the way, in not saying anything.
It's really hard not to, but let's put it this way. I've had conversations with 9 of the 10 backstage, and they've been very entertaining, to say the very least. I did sit down with the other 2 guys, the unbeaten light heavyweight world champions, which I'm not going to lie, JD.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. Carl's my witness. Was a difficult head-to-head.
I can imagine.
I'm going to tell you the truth.
Of course.
I would never lie to you. It was hard work. But because here's the thing, and Carl heard it at the end, the Soviet bloc fighters, guys from any of the Soviet countries, they don't do schmack talk.
It's not really a cultural thing for them.
No, that's the exact word that they use.
It's not a cultural thing.
And they sort of looked at me and they literally put his hand on my shoulder and went, "No, we don't do that."
From the amateurs, they just really don't get involved.
It's not what they do.
So there's something nice about that.
I'm a big fan of it. Don't tell anybody. I'm a big fan of it. I like it when guys are nice to each other. Then hey, we saw. Okay, you were there. I know you came to it, and you probably watched it on TV. Dan Aziz,
yes,
Joshua Boazzi.
Yeah.
A week after the fight, they were on holiday together in Ghana.
Yeah, they were.
They'd known each other for years. They'd been at weddings, christenings together. Okay, and suddenly they fight each other, and it doesn't get any aggro. And they get in that ring and they fight each other at Wembley. You were there, JD, to a standstill.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And they could barely walk.
Very much so. As someone from London as well, extremely proud of both of those gentlemen, what they've turned around and done. But let's stay in their division. Since you've alluded to it, let's stay in their division. And I don't want this to go underneath the radar for the magnitude of this fight, because I'm hearing some people talk about obviously the big ring of fire, which we're all going to be at, we're all going to enjoy. Which is going to be obviously the crown, the heavyweight champion. But there's something very special about an undisputed light heavyweight champion. Now, I want you to tell me from the Bivol angle first of all. Let's talk about Dmitry Bivol and what he brings to that spectacle and what he's looking to turn around and do.
Technically, he's very, very good in terms of his punch selection and everything he does, but his feet, I think, are his real strong asset. His feet are very, very good. I think he probably punches harder than he gets credit for as well, because typically someone who moves like
Great
Bivol,
observation.
someone who moves like Bivol, you know, what you want to do is close him down and get close and bully him, but people want to do that, but they can't do it because I think that he hits him hard from a distance. But Bivol technically is as gifted as they come. Great fighter.
And he's got gears, Carl. Like, you know, he can fight guys and go 12 rounds, and it can look like a competitive fight. But he's only played around in gear 1, and he's got this thing where he times his punches like all the good fighters can do, where it's not just a left hook, it's a left hook at this power, at this range, and he does that. And he's, I'm not saying he's playing sometimes with opponents, but you half get that impression. He's so in control of what he does.
A few more gears.
Lots of them.
I think we definitely witnessed that, and this is all credit to Lyndon Arthur, but we were both obviously all present in terms of what we saw there, and it was a valiant effort. I love what Lyndon's done. Great relationship with Pat. Congratulations to Zelfa and all the rest of them. But You talk about those gears. You're talking about the gears and the levels between the division.
Yeah.
These really are the two undisputed kings of this division. I want you to tell me now from the Beterbiev angle. We spoke about Bivol and what he brings. What does Beterbiev bring to this event?
Well, just like we said, Carl said there, this is like the reverse of what Carl said. Carl said that sometimes Bivol doesn't get credit for his power. Well, I don't think Beterbiev gets credit for his boxing skills.
Ring savvy,
and his ring savvy and his smarts and his fight, the way he can just general a fight. You know, if a Beterbiev was a football team, he's never ever surrendering a 1-0 lead in the last 10 minutes ever in history.
So it's Chelsea 04-05.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who the other team is. Because he's just so in control of what he does. And then he's got this added thing, this degree of power, which is not a comedy. You know, people who have fought him and they used to say the same thing about Golovkin. You know, you speak to people that have fought him and they just talk about how everything hurts. You know, not just on the chin, Carl, everything.
There's footage of Beterbiev training online with a 20-kilo barbell.
Yeah.
And he's got it in one hand and he's throwing it up like a band.
Like it's
he's playing with a stick and he's twisted. This guy he's a brute, an absolute brute.
Yeah.
But he's not just that. I think coming from the Russian amateur scene, they all know how to fight. They're all very, very clever fighters as well.
They are. I just want to allude to it behind us, over our shoulders, and I know you can't see it, but it does feel like that. The Crown Showdown, it does feel like we've waited a long time. And Bunty, I had to go and do the research this morning, and I recognize both of their journeys just to get to this stage, in terms of being crowned a world champion, having to deal with mandatories, deal with obligations, deal with things domestically within your own country.
Yes.
To get to this stage, both fighters must feel so elated naturally.
Well, they told me when I was talking to them that you know, it's been 4 or 5 years that it's been rumoured, 4 or 5 years that they've been talking about this fight, but maybe longer that they've wanted it. I got the impression from talking to them that Bivol's wanted it a lot longer than Beterbiev's wanted it, and I'm wondering if there was something in that little line he gave us, Bivol, about how when Bivol first went to the national team, Beterbiev, 6 years older, was the superstar.
Yeah.
Always in the semi-finals, always in the finals, always fighting the best in the world and giving and winning, losing, beating Usyk, losing to Usyk as an amateur. And I'm just wondering if little Bivol, who still looks like he's young now,
he does look like a baby
was
face,
looking up at this giant Beterbiev, balancing these 20-kilo dumbbells and thinking, one day, my son, one day. And maybe that day is going to be June the 1st.
I wanted to bring this question in, and I want it to be so respectful, because I'm not going to say it when Artur's here. I want that on the record too. But is age a factor at all? I'm just looking at the normal human being. When you're 38, 39, you start asking questions of your body. But
it could be
I've watched him this year.
Yeah, look, it could be a factor, but going off Beterbiev's last performance against Callum Smith, then it probably isn't. That was an unbelievable performance. Callum Smith maybe not the fighter that he once was, but certainly age is a factor for Callum Smith. But Beterbiev seems to me, although he's 38, is he?
39, I think.
39 now.
And still like in the prime of his life.
It's sensational. I don't understand. Him, LeBron James, they need to give the remedy as to what they do.
I don't know how LeBron James lives, but I know a little bit about the way Beterbiev lives. And he lives a really wholesome life.
Yeah.
So if he's got to go out and chop wood, he goes with an axe and comes back with the wood for the fire. If he's got to feed his family trout that night, he goes out with a hook and catches the trout, grows the vegetables. You know, fast food and Beterbiev have never been in the same city.
Love it.
In fact, we could make a load of sort of Chuck Norris style jokes about what exactly Beterbiev does, because I just think I think with him there might be a massive asterisk attached, and the age just might not be a factor. He might be one of those freak humans, Carl. Because you up close, you saw him a little bit. You were at 6 feet from him when I was talking to him. There's something about him, there's just the sort of power.
Aura.
And the aura, yeah. And I just got a feeling he might just be one of those natural freaks that can do anything, and he'll do it for a lot. That's my gut feeling.
I think you might be right. You know, Bunsey, just looking at his face, he's clearly a serious man as well. Like very, very serious. And the guy who you see around when he has to do important stuff, he's like deadpan, like literally put the frighteners up anybody.
Yeah.
But off camera he's a nice guy and he's really nice and actually quite pleasant. But that whole demeanour around boxing and boxing events, he's a scary man.
You know when he fought in the yard?
Yes.
I was in a position, I was working TNT. I don't know if you were with us. I don't know if you were with us that
Hadn't
night.
made the transfer as of
No,
yet.
exactly. But you were on the bench somewhere. But so I was ringside, and it was a proper ringside. So we're actually on the canvas, and I remember he was over here, And there was a point, several points in that fight where I was no more than, 7, 8, 9 feet away from Beterbiev's eyes and face. And it made me take a deep breath, just being that close to a man, hitting somebody else, but in my presence. There was something about it. Now, I'm not saying I've never experienced that before, but it was a massive feeling. It was not unique. I felt it a few times with fighters, but I really sensed it. And that was, whether it was aura, whether it was power, whether it was ferocity, or whether it was just the sense that what you're dealing with here is just someone that's very special, Carl.
No,
very special.
Absolutely agree. I mean, he's one of my favourite fighters to watch, just on how he goes about his business and how he fights. He's not afraid to get hit, and that's why we've seen him on his backside a number of times, but he gets back up and he wins. He fights through adversity, massive cuts. I mean, he's a quality fighter.
He's got it all, and we're about to find out from Dev Sani as he introduces what is going to be one of the biggest bills known, the undisputed light heavyweight contest between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. Strap yourselves in. Isn't that always the way? We've got technical problems. Dev Sani, I'm sure, will be, as you know, he's the voice of boxing, as he turn around and tell you himself. But look, since we've got a couple more minutes, I always say let's feel, right? And we turn around and enjoy this moment as the fighters are getting back. You two have both been backstage. I haven't had the opportunity yet to turn around and get an aura or energy from them. What did you kind of sense in terms of from Beterbiev, first of all?
Fearsome, like literally really scary man. Bivol a bit more relaxed, and
he does sense that usually. Though Bivol is usually a bit more cool,
yeah,
a bit more
I think
calm.
a bit more coy, a bit more. That's exactly how I would describe it. But there was just, I don't know, there was something a bit ferocious about Beterbiev. He just seems like a.
I agree with you completely, except that, do you see when Bivol jumped on me? When I said that line about Eastern Bloc fighters, he jumped down my throat, Jade. He jumped down my throat, brother.
I'm telling you, let's talk about Dev Sani. He's about to jump down our throats as well. So let's hand over to him now as we go round 2 for the remix between Beterbiev and Bivol.
This stage, whenever the media gathers in this room, we know that something big is about to happen. It's another groundbreaking, monumental press conference. Now, Riyadh has really become the home of big-time boxing. Let's go back to October, the battle of the baddest. Fury versus Ngannou, the lineal king of heavyweight boxing against the lineal king of heavyweight MMA. We then moved on to the day of reckoning, December 23rd. Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, and a star-studded undercard. What about knockout chaos? Just last month, Anthony Joshua, Francis Ngannou, a knockout that we'll never forget, all happened in Riyadh. May 18th is another one for your diary, as if you don't already know. The first undisputed heavyweight champion of the century will be crowned as part of Riyadh's season. Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk will finally meet in a ring of fire with absolutely everything on the line. Well, today we're here to announce the latest and perhaps the greatest in all of these shows so far. We'll be back in Riyadh on June the 1st. Now, as part of Riyadh's season, this is a sporting rivalry that has gone on for years and years and years. It's one of the fiercest, most intense, most bitter rivalries out there. UK boxing promoters Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn will each pit 5 of their very best fighters against each other. It will be Queensberry versus Matchroom. There will be pride on the line. There will be glory on the line. And there will be an awful lot of bragging rights on the line. Over 30 years of rivalry will spill over into the ring. And stick with us, because we'll be announcing and unveiling those fighters very, very shortly. It's a Riyadh season original. Now, the main event on June the 1st, it's about as good as it gets right now in boxing. If you're a fight fan watching this stream, if you're a member of the media in this room, this is on your list of dream fights. The dream becomes a reality. June the 1st, 2 pound-for-pound ranked fighters, 2 of the best fighters in the whole world, will collide and decide who the unified and undisputed light heavyweight king really is. On one side, you've got unbeaten WBA, IBO World Light Heavyweight Champion Dmitry Bivol, perhaps the best pure boxer in the world right now. And he takes on the unified WBO, IBF, WBC and lineal World Light Heavyweight Champion, perhaps the most destructive puncher in boxing, in Artur Beterbiev. It is quite simply the best versus the best. Now, this event is brought to you to fans worldwide by Frank Warren on behalf of Queensberry Promotions and Bob Arum for Top Rank Incorporated and Eddie Hearn for Matchroom Boxing in conjunction with Riyadh Season, National Events Centre, the General Entertainment Authority, Gold Star Promotions and Seller. Okay, let's bring onto the stage some of the key players involved in this historic bout on June the 1st. Let's first welcome to the stage the long-standing manager of WBA World Light Heavyweight Champion Dmitry Bivol, representing World of Boxing Promotions. Please welcome Vadim Kornilov. Okay, that's Vadim Kornilov with that glorious WBA World Light Heavyweight Championship. Now let's welcome to the stage the president of Top Rank Incorporated and representing the unified World Light Heavyweight Champion Artur Beterbiev. Please welcome Todd DeBoeuf. Okay, now let's welcome to the stage, representing Queensberry Promotions, Hall of Fame boxing promoter, Frank Warren. Okay, it's now time to welcome to the stage the long-standing promoter of WBA World Light Heavyweight Champion Dmitry Bivol, representing Matchroom Boxing. Please welcome Eddie Hearn. Okay, let's get the fighters onto the stage. Let's first welcome one of the supreme technicians in boxing today. One of the best pure boxers out there. He is unbeaten in 22 fights. He is the long-reigning WBA World Light Heavyweight Champion and IBO Light Heavyweight Champion. Please welcome Dmitry Bivol. Okay, now let's welcome to the stage a champion who has knocked out every man that he has faced. Unbeaten with a perfect record of 20 fights, 20 wins, 20 knockouts. He's the reigning unified WBC, WBO and IBF World Light Heavyweight Champion. Please welcome Artur Beterbiev. Okay, so everyone's up here. Before we begin speaking to the top table, I'd like to take a moment to thank those involved in making these groundbreaking events possible. And what a privilege it is to be working again on such a historic fight card as part of Riyadh Season. Firstly, we'd like to express our heartfelt thanks to the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz. And to His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And of course, His Excellency, Chairman of GIA, Turki Al-Sheikh. And a huge thanks to all of the teams of Gia, Riyadh Season and Seller as we continue to work together to deliver historic events in the kingdom. Okay, let's talk to the table. I'm going to begin with Hall of Fame boxing promoter here, Frank Warren. A tremendous fight. This is Undisputed. Just 2 weeks after we crown an undisputed heavyweight champion, we get one in the light heavyweight division. Tell us about this fight.
We do, but just before that, I'd also, on behalf of all of us here, like to thank King Salman and the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and also the chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, His Excellency, Turki Al-Ashik, and thank you so much for making all this happen. Boxing is so grateful for you, all the effort that's been put in to making these magnificent fights and occasions happen. Very grateful. So we've got a big fight. We've got 4 belts on the line. Very rarely does this happen. We got one, obviously, a few weeks before with a heavyweight division. Then we're in the light heavyweight division with 2 superb fighters, both undefeated. I think they're both 20 wins each. So somebody's O will go, as they say. And me as a fight fan and a bit of a neutral as far as the 2 guys are concerned, I can't wait to see it. This is something extra, extra special. And again, take our hats off to Top Rank and to Matchroom, who worked very hard to make this happen. It's brilliant.
Now, you've seen both of these guys last year. Artur Beterbiev at the very start of the year, Dmitry Bivol towards the end. Look, I don't want to push you towards a pick, but have you got any pick? And bear in mind who sat next to you.
Well, he beat my man, didn't you? He beat Anthony in I think his toughest fight to date. It was a tough fight. It was an excellent and exciting fight, and he done it in style. And over the other side of the table is another Brit basher who's done a few of our guys. So this is such a good fight. I mean, fights like this come along very, very rarely. Two undefeated fighters. As I say, we got one a couple of weeks before, a bit like buses, but very rarely does this happen. And quality fighters, top guys. And who would I lean towards? I've got to lean towards Artur because I think in fighting Anthony, he showed to me what a good fighter he was. Anthony, I've got a lot of regard for him as a fighter, and he done brilliantly against him.
Okay, thank you, Frank Warren. Let's bring in Vadim Kornilov from the Bivol team. Vadim, you've just heard Frank Warren refer to Dmitry there as the Brit basher. He's got a tall task in front of him, though, in Artur Beterbiev. Tell us your thoughts heading into Undisputed.
Thank you for everything, and thank you for this fight to be happening finally. One thing I can say is that this is a fight that we've been waiting for a long time. Probably for the last 2 years, Dmitry has been asking for the Undisputed fight. And finally, there's somebody that came through and came together, brought everybody together and made this happen. And I just want to say that we appreciate the opportunity and everybody who's taking part in this, and the great athletic fan in His Excellency, Mr. Turki, who's making this a possibility for everybody.
And why does your man win?
Because boxing is more about class, IQ, style, and skills, in my opinion.
Okay, well, let's hear from the Beterbiev side. Let's bring in Todd DeBoeuf. You've just heard the case there from Vadim Kornilov. A big moment for Artur and Top Rank here. Give us your thoughts.
Well, I mean, I think I've always been a fan of destruction, and this guy is destruction, and Frank is dead on right. Artur has just... Every time you turn on the television, my phone would ring and friends from all over the world would call me and say, who is this monster? And I think he gets better with each fight. I think he adjusted after the Yard fight where we saw he got hit a couple times and then came in for the next fight against Smith and adjusted. And the truth is, it's a really credit to the athlete. It's a credit to the Riyadh season, Sella, His Excellency, listening to what the people are saying. We want to see something, help us make this happen. And we're helping the two fighters at the top of their skill set in a great weight class and a great contrast to style. So I think we're in for a special night.
And why does Artur Beterbiev become undisputed June 1st?
Because you look at his body of work, nobody lasts 12 rounds. That's why. I don't have to say anything.
That's a pretty conclusive argument, but I'm sure there's a man who will have something to say about that. Mr. Eddie Hearn, you've long championed Dmitry Bivol. He's talked about wanting to be undisputed, but this is a man you know very, very well. A tall task. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks, Dev. Thanks, everybody, for attending today. Just before we go into this fight, just want to pass our regards on to the family of Willie Limond, who unfortunately lost his life earlier today. A great ambassador for the sport of boxing. Rest in peace, Willie Limond, and God bless your family. We're here again, Dev. This is quite remarkable, really. Of course, thank you to His Crown Prince and His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. You did it again. To have two undisputed fights within 2 weeks of each other is quite remarkable. I mean, the Undisputed Heavyweight World Championship has been something that's avoided us for a long time. You made that happen. Now you make, in my opinion, the best fight in boxing in Dmitry Bivol against Artur Beterbiev. I think it's just one of the purest matchups in the sport. And to see that headline, the top of a card on June 1st with the 5v5, 6 of the purest 50-50 matchups you could see in boxing. So congratulations to everybody. This is a real incredible moment for the sport. And I didn't see this fight happening without an intervention from somebody. And as I said, His Excellency made it happen. These are two tremendous fighters, two world champions. In every division, we should look to find an undisputed champion. It tells you who the very best is. And Frank's right, you know, Artur Beterbiev has, of course, beaten Anthony Yarde. He beat Callum Johnson, who we put in with him many years ago. Callum did drop him. He beat Callum Smith as well. And Dmitry Bivol beat Craig Richards and beat Lyndon Arthur as well. And I just feel that this man to my left, as Vadim says, his boxing IQ is on another level. And it needs to be against, as Todd said, you know, one of the most dangerous men in the sport of boxing. Artur Beterbiev is a wrecking machine. But this guy, I believe, is pound for pound the top fighter potentially in the sport. And when he beat Canelo Alvarez, who was the clear pound for pound #1 in the sport, I don't think he actually got the credit that he deserved. And he did that with consummate ease. And as tough as this fight is, don't be amazed to see him make this look easy on June the 1st. I think it's going to be a very, very tough fight, but he has all the ability to stand that man on his head whilst he's trying to hunt him down. But whilst he's doing it, he's going to be very, very dangerous. And I believe on June the 1st, Dmitry Bivol will be the undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world.
Just one more on that, Eddie. Obviously, you were talking about Callum Smith. He's going to knock him out with a left hook. Heard you about Callum Johnson in the past as well. What is it that is so different about Dmitry Bivol that makes you think he's going to stop this man? Ability,
footwork, ring IQ, composure. You know, all of the things you need. If you don't have the ability to box and move, to stand and trade at times, to have a great chin, to have the engine, Artur's going to run through you. And it's going to take someone very, very special to beat him. Thankfully, we got someone very, very special. His name is Dmitry Bivol, and he's built for this moment. For 5 or 6 years, we've been working together with Vadim. Vadim has told me from the very, very start, we need the Beterbiev fight. That is the fight that will show us and show the world how great Dmitry Bivol is. Really, he's already achieved greatness. He beat the pound for pound #1. But the naysayers will say, yeah, but it was a 168 coming up to 175. Whatever. Now there will be no arguments that the victor on June the 1st is the king of the division. And that's what we want in the sport of boxing. And I can't wait. I can't wait to, you know, I mean, it's going to be one of the great nights for Dmitry, for Vadim, and for me personally, because after we've spanked Frankie Boy 5-0 in the 5v5, we're going to run off with the Undisputed Championship. And it's going to be so sweet, because I look at Todd down there, he don't really like me either. So I can't wait. Roll on June the 1st, Riyadh, another historic night. Jeez. Thank you, Eddie.
That was all for no context, Hearn. I know that was. Let's bring in a man who most definitely does like you, Dmitry Bivol, WBA light heavyweight champion. I've heard you talk about how this is your dream fight. Even when people were asking you about fighting Canelo again, you were saying, I want Undisputed. Now it's so close. Tell us how you're feeling heading into this.
Hello, everybody. I want to say thank you to Beterbiev team, to my promoter, World of Boxing, Matchroom, Hearn, everybody, and of course to His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh and Riyadh and Saudi, because they are making a great fight for not only for me, for boxing fans, because everybody who loves boxing, they ask me, when you gonna fight Beterbiev? Who's gonna make this fight? And Saudi Arabia, they will make this fight. And thank you for this. Of course, I'm happy because when I signed the contract to be a pro boxer, I had a goal to be an undisputed champion. And everything what I went through, it was to my goal. I made it to get my goal. Even the fight against Canelo, which Eddie mentioned, it was my ticket for big fights. And now I'm happy that I will have fight on June 1st for all of belts.
When you look across, down the table, at Artur Beterbiev, 20 fights, 20 wins, 20 knockouts, do you see the most dangerous challenge of your career?
Every time when I'm on my training camp, I think my opponent is the dangerous opponent in the world. These thoughts help me to be in focus, to be serious in my training camp, and of course he's one of the dangerous opponent. Even if we see on his records, even if he see on his fights, he's powerful, and it makes me more excited to fight against this guy because I love challenges. I love to be tested, and this fight, the huge test for me also.
Well, he's knocked out everyone so far. Tell us why you're different.
Every person is different, not only me. I have good skills. I just believe in my skills. I'm in boxing 20 years old, 28 years I'm in boxing. I'm in boxing since I remember myself. I love the sport, and I think it could help me, my experience and my mentality and my skills, my camp. I just believe that I could be undisputed.
Okay, well, let's bring in Artur Beterbiev. You have been also dreaming about becoming undisputed, getting that fourth belt. It's just there, that fourth belt. How do you feel looking across, seeing it? Tell us what's on your mind.
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here. Not first time. Thank you for everyone who make this fight, for His Excellence, for Top Rank, for Frank Warren, for his team. What you ask me? Can you?
I mean, you can see the belt there, the belt that you've wanted for so long, Artur. Since 2017, you wanted to keep collecting the belts. How do you feel seeing it there and going into this fight?
I see another belt.
And what about Dmitry Bivol? Thank you, Artur, terrorizing me. Do you just see just another opponent? I mean, this is an unbeaten champion.
Like you say, I'm collecting belts and I need one more.
You've both been world champions since 2017. In your opinion, why has it taken so long for this fight to happen?
I don't know. He knows better. Ask him.
Dmitry, why has it taken so long for this fight to happen?
To be realistic, yeah, you ask him, he doesn't speak, I will say from him. Of course, we know boxing how it's happening, and all fighters was with the belt with the top rank. I asked my team a lot of times. I wanted this fight, and I got answer only that it's not. There is no person who will make this fight.
His Excellency wasn't doing boxing.
Yeah, and now we have His Excellency who loves boxing so much, and who said that I want this fight, and this fight happened.
Well, this fight is certainly happening June 1st. Artur, is this the biggest challenge so far?
We'll see.
What's your hunch? What do you think?
Well, I'm not thinking. I'm preparing. I will prepare for this fight. Try to be ready for 100%.
Okay. Thank you very much. I just wonder, do you have a message for Dmitry Bivol now that he's here?
He know already.
Dimitri, Artur Beterbiev says that you know already. What is it that you know?
I don't know already.
We know. I tell you, no. For sure.
Okay, so somebody knows something. What I do know is that there is an additional belt on the line here. There will be an undisputed new belt on the line, which should, there you go, the magic of television, it is up there behind us. And the fighters will face off very, very shortly in the front of the stage with that behind us. Don't go anywhere, because we'll be back very shortly for the 5 versus 5 unveiling. Dmitry Bivol, Artur Beterbiev, undisputed, coming up June 1st, your main event. Stick with us.
Yeah, very few words. I will say that, Carl.
Yeah.
I think we kind of expected it. Bunty alluded to it in terms of the high levels of tension between both fighters. I think when you think respectively about their journeys and how long it's taken them both to get to this stage, I think it's a bit understandable. I mean, traveling out of their countries, coming in the middle of probably what be camp and all the rest of it, to come and do a press conference, which neither fighter is probably, let's say, the most articulate in terms of English, respectively.
They both said to me, JD, and Carl heard them, they both said in their heavy Eastern European accents, this I don't like. Fighting I like. I don't like this. I don't like this. I know I have to do it, but I don't like it.
I think that was evident.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. So it's not a big problem. You know that's the case.
I like that about them, though, that they don't have to talk. We all know as boxing fans what a fight this is, and history in the making, and all of that, all them sort of catchphrases and lines, but these guys, they don't need to talk. They really don't need to talk, and we know it's going to be an absolute war, bloodbath, potentially. Going to be fighters up and down. Yes. I think it's going to be a great fight.
But the best part about spending so much time with fighters, and Bunty, you'll probably understand this as well, decades, is they tell me sometimes don't look into these things in terms of the face-offs and the pictures. There's nothing to read into it. That's all for comments and Instagram and Twitter and all the rest of it.
That's for the show. What you need is that moment backstage when they're queuing up to come on. This is the privileged position that we're in.
Facts.
In our position. And it's just that little moment backstage when for a second, for the first time, they're actually shoulder to shoulder. But they can't acknowledge each other, and they're standing, looking at the door they're going to go through. And you know what's in their mind? They're going, who's going through that door first? That's psychology one. That's round one. And they're both standing and they're half talking to the people behind them, but they're not acknowledging them. That's what we saw back there. When I was a bit late coming here, as you know. I wasn't backstage having a cigar. I was backstage working.
As always. I alluded to that on the broadcast. I'm like, Bunty,
exactly.
back.
And I saw the two of them standing not 3 feet apart. And you look at that. There's the tension, JD. Yeah. Not some nice shoot off. That bit of tension, and it was crackling.
I'm actually surprised a little bit by the relatively similar in height. I thought Bivol was maybe a lot taller, a couple of inches taller on him anyway, but they look to be similar heights. I think maybe that's just down to height of fight. Bivol fights like he's a tall fighter, uses levers really well, and Beterbiev likes to come forward and be very, very destructive.
Very aggressive in terms of what you're expecting from him. I want to know in terms of the few words that we did get from them. Let's try and see if we can unpack some parts of that press conference. Let's talk about Dmitry Bivol first, because he looks like he could be one that might be joining us really shortly. He was probably the more vocal of the two, I would say, honestly. Yeah. Probably more comfortable in terms of the microphone in front of him. What did you kind of read in terms of the comments that he said in terms of his joining?
Again, not a lot into it. Both guys seem really confident in themselves. I think that Bivol was probably slightly annoyed by the comment that Beterbiev made, where he says, "Ask him why the fight hasn't happened till now."
I did see that.
He kind of kicked back a little bit, but again, I always just think that there's always people like to be kind of part-time psychologists when they're trying to read fighters' body language and head-to-head, especially this far out. Maybe a little bit closer to the fight, but at this stage, I think both guys are just really confident that they both can win the fight.
And Bivol definitely has much better English than Beterbiev
Yeah.
by some considerable distance. So, for instance, if you're chatting, like I'll say something to Carl, like off the record, and then I'll say something to Bivol really quick, and he say, "Yes, I heard earlier. Don't worry." So he can hear things.
Yeah.
Whereas Beterbiev, you've got to try and find a bit of not necessarily eye contact, but you want to have him in your vision when you're talking to him. That's the way I look at it. Whereas Bivol is, it's quiet in here, so you've got to talk. In my opinion, you've got to get quite loud.
Hey, Todd.
Anyway you like, Todd.
Good to see you.
No, anywhere you like.
No,
of course you're live, brother.
Pleasure, by the way.
You always like.
however we do it.
As always, some people
more
need
time.
no introductions and some people need even further less introductions in terms of thank you so much Todd and Artur as well for joining us. Artur, don't worry about it, man, it's just a couple of cameras, yeah? I see you smiling, I see you enjoying it.
He's not worried.
Thank you so much first of all for joining us on the broadcast. Just tell me in terms of your thoughts, all of this, your journey so far, 2017 you picked up your first title and now where you are now, how are you feeling knowing that you're only one belt away from Utopia?
I'm good, not bad. It's very good, big show.
Big show.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about all of it in terms of just the media, the access? Look at the people over my shoulder. This is all for you.
I'm a bit shy now. I'm a bit shy. I mean, it's not my area. My area is ring. I'm more comfortable in the ring.
Artur, does it make it better for you to fight for the Undisputed title against a fellow countryman? Does that make it a little bit more special?
Of course, but I think it's when I already had in my experience unified fight. I mean, it's almost the same. I think.
Yeah.
But it's different. It's not like when you get the belt, first belt or.
No, I get it.
Artur, this is the first and only time I'm going to turn man and give you any instructions. Just bring the microphone a little bit closer because the fans at home want to make sure they hear. And this is the perfect time to bring yourself in. Just looking at his journey, I saw how proud you were up there. Just thinking about how far he's come and everything that he's achieved. But how excited are you knowing that he's probably only one step away from what was a goal for him a long time ago?
One of the things is I remember going to Canada and signing Artur. The first time I met him, his English wasn't so good. Very stoic face. So like he said, this isn't good for him, right? And we walked away from the meeting as a lawyer called us up and he said, he was so happy. I'm like, oh my God. That's happy? I'd hate to see when he's upset, right?
See, look, he knows. He knows now. He's laughing now. Look.
His English has gotten better, but I think the one thing he's done is he's connected to the global boxing community because of his destructive nature, right? He has a style, and he's getting better with every fight, right? He's picking up something a little different from every fight. I think what we saw in the adjustment from the Yard fight to the Smith fight, narrowing the gap, putting the pressure on, staying in the pocket, moving a little bit, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. And I think anybody that fights this man knows it's a destructive night.
So would you say then, and would you agree with Todd, that at 38 years old, 39,
39.
are you
39.
still an improving fighter at 39?
Yes, I believe.
I want to ask
I'm
you
always
yeah.
looking for something to fix it or make better my skills, my boxing skills.
I mean, if you just look at the two fights, it's
Incredible.
so clear.
Yeah.
It's so clear how he was
Changed and improved.
The distance. He stood in the pocket. He wasn't at the and Smith had a much longer reach, right?
Yeah.
And he put the pressure on, and you just saw it. My whole office, we were sitting there going, "Oh my,
Wow.
He learned that quick," and that's just, this is what he does as a baby. It's in his DNA.
How are you getting better? I really want to know this. At 39 years old, a lot of your peers that you would have grown up with have probably got their slippers on at this moment. How are you getting better so late in your career?
I don't know. It's because of luck.
No, it's not luck.
Healthy
There's
living.
something that you're living the life.
Healthy
It looks
living.
like you're living the life and you're enjoying
Look how
it.
much better Steve is, right? Look how much he's getting better every day.
Steve Bunce is a living legend.
56, I'm getting better.
Every decade.
Bunty, you had the opportunity to turn man and be around this man backstage. And what did you kind of sense in terms of how powerful he is and everything that he's turned man and
What I
achieved so
sensed
far?
was I seen, in my opinion, almost like two Arthurs, a very serious one, and then a light-hearted Arthur who gave me a lot of stick upstairs. Gave me a man that can smile. But what I really sensed was what we've seen from in the ring and the training footage. A man who is devoted and dedicated to his business, and his business is boxing. Simple as that.
I have to ask you now. You were saying that he knew why it took so long. What did you mean when you said that?
You know.
You're gonna make a meme out of this. This is gonna be a meme on its own.
I can't tell you because it's between us.
He just knows.
You know, I already tell him. You know.
But he knows, right?
Yeah, of course. You know.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm telling you, he does know. Carl, what have you seen so far? I mean, he sings your praises in terms of both being world champions, both understanding what it's like to compete at the highest level. When you look at his presence and what he's achieved and who he is as a person now, what's your thoughts
It's
as
been
fighter to fighter?
an incredible journey. I remember watching Artur as an amateur when I was a young amateur, like watching the Russian team who were outstanding and winning gold medals all over the world. So I've been a fan of him before he turned professional. I knew a lot about him before he turned professional. So to watch this kind of meteoric rise, 20 wins, 20 knockouts, undisputed, unified, and try and now for the next fight to become undisputed and say 21 fights, absolutely be incredible.
Well, and I think one of the things that you're saying is so true. We can talk about the credibilities, the belts, and all that stuff, but this is must-see TV.
Incredible.
Right? This is almost like
Every fight.
It's like the Mike Tyson era, right?
It is.
When you see somebody, it's not the cutesy, it's not the fancy, it's not the pull counters, it's not the beauty of the sweet science. It's destruction, and there's something so crude and beautiful about that, and that's here.
I saw you on YouTube training with a barbell.
Bar.
Never seen. Have you seen this? He's throwing a barbell.
Toss it up in the air.
Like the barbell didn't go 12 rounds either.
No, it was unbelievable.
How many rounds did the barbell
I don't know. He just held on to it. He couldn't let it go.
Artur, I just want to know from you, do you have any final words? Do you have anything, you message you want to say? Because you've come here before, you understand in terms of what it's like to fight on the biggest stage. You've done it all. Amateurs, now professional, one step away from your final destination.
Now I hope London, from England, fans of boxing on my side, because I'm fighting not for England fighter. You know?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like it.
Clever.
He's learning.
He's
Clever.
learning. He's smart. Look at him.
Marking. Artur, it's always a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, man.
Pleasure. Steve Bunce.
Thanks, Sean.
Pleasure, brother. Thank you.
The presence is always there. Todd also, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much
Just
indeed.
place the microphones there.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Different level. I know what you mean now,
Different
Fancy.
league.
Aura.
Yeah.
I feel it.
But he knows, you know, like he knew what Todd was saying. He was laughing. He was joking.
Look at the attention. Look at this media circle.
You know,
We're in the middle of a live
I'm not
broadcast.
saying he was
Can you
playing with
imagine?
us, but he was nearly playing with us. Let's get that right.
I know exactly what
he
you
knew
mean.
what he was doing.
Someone want to get the YouTubers off my back here, Bunty. Give him a slap.
We're supposed to have security here, aren't we? You got to appreciate it, but that will tell you about the fanfare. That will kind of explain to you everything that is here, because it's not just the media in terms of in London. It's not your normal standard.
Send in
typical
everyone.
event.
Send in everyone.
It's everything, and this is what Undisputed is about. It's going to attract the audience. It's going to attract the casuals, and it's going to attract the wider audience. The only thing I'm fearing now is we've got to somehow get Dmitry Bivol on this
This
broadcast
guy's
in the
going
middle.
on.
Yeah, we'll get him.
He's trying his hardest. He's trying his
Need to
hardest.
move. Thank you.
Don't get on the bad side of the jackal, yeah?
No.
Look, with all the media fanfare behind us, let's just concentrate on what we saw up there as well. You spoke about it, just how he is, what he is, who he is. It seems like he's on the tin. That's what I kind of gathered from him. He doesn't want to say many words. Doesn't want to force himself outside of a comfort zone.
You see a really nice side to him when he's here and he's doing them interviews and he's smiling a little bit and he's understanding the English. But honestly, it's different when he's anything in close proximity of Bivol, and it's not a front or
it's
an
not.
act. He just gets really, really serious, and it's almost like two different men, isn't it?
When I sat them down, and the cameramen, who I love cameramen, but they don't understand.
Clearly.
The cameramen decided that they wanted their two fighters to put their elbows on a table. So when their elbows were on the table, their heads were closer than this.
Yeah.
Carl went, I could never do that. They were no more than about 12 inches apart. And I'm behind them, squeezed behind, shrinking. And I'm telling you, that tension there was incredible. So all that smiling there, and Bivol will come over, and he's a gentleman, and he's good English. Forget all that. I've seen it in that room, 5 or 6 of us. Carl was a witness to it. JD, I'm telling you, brother, if you'd have been in there, you would have felt it. It was real.
What I noticed as well, every time that Bivol was speaking, like he kind of looked away a few times, but when Bivol spoke, he kind of glared right through him, like right at him. It was like Very, very intimidating.
Back of his head glare,
Intimidating
you know?
for me, maybe not for Bivol, but I was certainly intimidated.
You know what, you're talking about it there, but are these all mind games? Are they all mental things, or is it just preparation for him? Is it more for him, or is it more to send a message to Dmitry?
My gut feeling is they both know each other from the old Soviet system. They were in the same national teams together, that their minds are so strong. I think it's just what they do. So there's no slapping or throwing of tables or he said, she said. There's none of that toing and throwing. It's just a silence, and it's just a meaningful look. And it's just, this is my space. I'm me, that's your space, you're you, and we'll find out on June the 1st when the first bell sounds. Now, there's no bravado. Let's put it this way, JD. I don't think there's any intentional mind games. It's just the way they are. It's just the way they are.
Do you think it could be, obviously, Beterbiev was the number one fighter and kind of the Russian setup when Bivol was breaking into the Russian scene, and maybe he was 3 or 4 place Russian, which is a very good fighter if you're third or fourth Russian. But does Beterbiev maybe still have that attitude, like, I'm the top dog?
Of course he does.
You know what I mean?
Cole, you heard that line when Bivol said, I remember many times looking at him when I was first in the squad. I was younger and he was a star, and I looked at him. So then I turned to Beterbiev, and so I asked the same question. And he went, I said, do you remember Dmitry when he first joined the squad? And he went, no. Done him like a kipper. I believe that is, JD.
I love it because they're all the mind games, the sort of mental messages that they're sending the mental messages they're sending to one another. This is where I can lean on both of you two, because you live and breathe this sport. I don't even call it a sport to you, it's both a lifestyle for both of you. What do they mean up there? What were they alluding to? When he turned around and said, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is why I'm just leaning to see if you know any insides.
Well, they admitted they sparred, and Beterbiev said, ask his coach. Right. So something happened. Now, I'm not a person that likes to live and draw on memories that I didn't see in sparring. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of people talking about sparring. But clearly something happened. And it may be that just Beterbiev was the daddy of a squad. And JD, you've been around GB, you've been up to GB squad. You said if you're the daddy, you're the daddy. I mean, there's 37 other fighters there that are going to tournaments and maybe winning medals. But if you're the daddy, you're the daddy.
Boss,
so Pat McCormack, the great welterweight, he was the daddy. Even when AJ was in the squad, he was still the daddy.
Of course.
And it means something. You're in the heart of the system. You understand that better than anybody.
And going back to the amateur system,
yes.
the daddy in the amateur system when I was there in Ireland was Kenny Egan, who
Kenny,
you know very,
he's still
very
the daddy.
well.
He's still the king of Ireland now.
Yeah,
definitely still the daddy.
Yeah, there's something about that. They want to kind of, just be the boss. But both guys are banned for that now. I think the Bivol, he's maybe looking at it. Well, hold on. I've got that the wrong way around. I've got one of these belts. One of them's got 3. But Bivol's now saying, like, I'm the boss now. Like, you're not the boss. You're coming to the end of your career. Although he says he's still improving as a fighter. Bivol want to kind of establish some sort of authority here as well.
Yeah.
Since we're here, and since obviously as you can see behind us, the background is about to change. The media seems to have cleared out a little bit because it's now for the second half. Probably a little bit more of the, let's say, the casual interest, but definitely one that's still going to have the purist at heart, the 5 versus 5. Now, I know we're not allowed to reveal it because we're only moments away in terms of who the fighters are, and they will be unveiled, but just give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts in terms of the tension you're seeing between Frank and Eddie. And I asked Carl earlier, did you ever think you would see this day?
Never. I'm not going to be one of those guys that says, I knew it would get together. I am telling you, I tried in 2011 to get them together. I tried in 2012 to get them together. I tried in 2013 to get them together. Boy, oh boy. When
you haven't got the same money as Turkey Chico.
No, there's no need for that. It's as simple as that. His wallet's bigger. But when they got together last year, when there were rumours of them getting together, I thought it would be cosmetic. But I've seen enough. I thought it would just be a charade. But I've seen enough at press conferences. I've seen enough in Saudi Arabia when I've been around them probably 20 days in the last few months. That, guess what? I think it's real.
Yeah, it is real.
In fact, I know it's real. It's quite staggering. And I never thought I would see it in answer to your question.
They're smart men. Both of them are smart guys, and they understand business, and they understand that they maybe put pride to one side, and this makes great business sense, not only for them and their promotional outfits, but also the fighters that they're looking after. I think it's a win-win all round.
Yeah,
This is
it's a
exactly
win-win.
what we wanted to see. You think about the decades that have gone in, because it's deeper than Frank and Eddie. It goes as far as the older generation too, and Eddie's father too. So I think when you bring a full circle moment, we should be smiling. We should be happy that we've got two of the best promoters in the world that are sitting down and saying that they want to work together and put on something like this.
And they're putting on a minute. This would be like the third show together. Yeah, third show, really the fourth show together. And they've got 10 or 15 more planned, because that's the way Turki Al Sheikh seems to work, is that he's give them dates, he throws up literally 20 fights up in the air, and they've got to package them. And I know that because I spoke to both Frank and Eddie when we were in Saudi last for Ngannou, and I spoke to Ngannou and AJ, and I spoke to them in the morning. They'd just come back from Turki Al Sheikh's house. They're there till 5:30 in the morning, and they both said the same thing to me. Look, I can't tell you what fights there are. He said, but we got over 20 fights that we're going to make this year. And the thing is, it's not like me and Carl sitting around doing fantasy fights in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
These are going to happen.
Yeah.
So if there's 20 fights in the air landing, well, maybe getting 5 of them today, for all I know. But we'll get these 20 fights because, well, it seems at the moment there's no barriers to anything, JD.
It just seems like we were having a conversation backstage. This is what we can give you preview, because when we're sometimes sitting in the changing rooms, we look at some of the rosters that they have and we say, well, when's their activity coming? Where are they going to get busy? Where are these fighters that are sitting on both Matchroom and Queensberry respectively going to get fights? It feels like this could be a massive springboard for a lot of those fighters that are inactive.
Well, I think they'll get the chance.
Yeah, no, there's an opportunity. Look, to be honest, with the money that the fighters are being paid to go to Saudi, everybody will want to go there, so they all can't do it. So there's got to be shows back in the UK as well that Eddie and Frank are putting on, and also Eddie has a platform in America as well with his own. So I think that people will want the Saudi bills. Some people are going to be disappointed when they don't get picked for a Saudi bill and someone else is getting selected in front of them, but this is just the way it is. I think that one good thing is, if you're performing and fighting well and a kind of a name in boxing, Turki Al Sheikh will want you to appear in Saudi Arabia.
I asked Carlos earlier as well, Bunty, so I want to know from you, if you were to pick one division or one matchup that you know would excite you naturally, which one are you looking out for?
What, the 5 that are coming up now?
Yeah.
Without saying the name.
Without saying the names. Well,
no pressure.
There is one guy coming up here who's been one of my favourite fighters for a long time, and he wins most of his fights and he wins them quick. I might be giving away too much, and he's a great character, and I like him because I haven't seen him for 4 months, and he came up to me and he went, "Hey Steve," and he touched my beard. He went, "Love the beard, that'll do for me." So
it's a good look on you though, Steve.
If he's in it, which I know he is, and I know who he's fighting, I've got to tell you, everyone will be watching this going, "Oh, I know what the 5 are. I know what the 5 are."
Of course.
And because once they're named, they say, "I told you that was the 5." Well,
of course.
There's 2 or 3 or 4 here that maybe you heard of, but there's one that I think will catch people out, and that's the entertaining one.
Right.
You know what I'm talking
I
about,
know
Carl.
the one he's talking
And
about. It's difficult doing a conversation
it
here
is.
when you're not allowed to mention names, JD.
And we can't wait until the stream. Obviously, naturally, what's coming up straight after this is the press conference, which is about to unveil the fighters, and then we can really dive in.
Yeah,
because
we
I've
get
got
some
loaded
fun
questions for you guys ready to go in terms of now we know who's going to be announced. But what I would say to you from a different perspective is then, Steve, and I asked Carl the same question. You were going to give the captaincy to one person. You're Frank Warren. Which division would you give the captaincy to, and why?
I'm going to take a wild guess and go middleweight for Frank Warren.
That's
and I'll
what
take
I
a
said.
wild guess and go heavyweight
Exactly.
for Eddie.
Me and Bunty are on the same
You're in
page
sync.
here.
You're in sync. That's why we're the dynamic trio, right there and then. Yeah, you're in sync.
JD, I'm going to tell you the truth.
Go on.
They told me earlier. I can't do that to you, JD. I can't do
It's
it to you,
alright,
brother.
it's alright.
They didn't tell me, but I knew it. I guess I'm
See?
right.
Yeah,
you guessed them right,
I know what I'm doing.
Just tell me in terms of your thoughts as to why you would go, if you were Frank, why you would turn around and give the captaincy, I said it there, almost captaincy to the middleweight division.
I'll tell you for why. Because it's 1 point for a win,
Yep.
points. It's 2 points for a knockout, right, or stoppage. And if you're a captain and you stop the person, it's 4 points. That's a lot of points, brother. That's a lot of points. Actually, the whole thing could be a draw. If 4 of Eddie's men won on points, that's 4 points. And Frank's captain wins by stoppage, it's 4-4. Then, I can't tell you what happens then. That's neither here nor there. It's a secret.
Jeez, you know something that we don't know?
No,
he
I'm
was
kidding
about
you
to say
again.
something. He was about to say something that we didn't know at that moment in time. I like it, Bunty. This is what I'm saying. If we talk long enough, hopefully the audience will start to reveal.
You want to know what happened to the draw at the
I
end?
really do want to know.
Frank and Eddie have an arm wrestle.
have an arm wrestle.
They put their table, stuff on the table like Bivol and
then
Beterbiev.
they play a game of Jim Rummy. And if that doesn't work, they play Monopoly till 5 in the morning.
How far do you reckon this Frank and Eddie relationship can go? I mean, I'm honest in saying that I do think it's an organic relationship now. But how far can they go in terms of, can they put on some big shows back home in Britain, as you were talking about?
Of course they can. I mean, and that's what we want to see as well. Obviously, it's great that these big fights are happening in Saudi and people are getting paid well as fighters, which in my opinion is one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. So they deserve to be paid well. But I think the relationship they'll have, it doesn't only have to be in Saudi. We can see massive fights. Eddie and Frank have both put on cards in Wembley, the biggest arena that we have in the UK. Why could they not do another 5v5 or 6 or 7v7 of Matchroom and Queensberry fighters in Wembley?
I think that's what we'll get on Wembley in that September show. I think we'll get another fight. They're not saying, they're not admitting that. I'm giving a bit away, but I think we'll get it because this 5v5 works. And there'll be people that go, oh no, this 5v5 works on all sorts of levels. I'm convinced there'll be another one.
I want to know from the competitive edge. You know both of these individuals so well. Both of you have worked with these individuals for a long period of time. Do you think there's a slight competitive edge? Still, they want to make sure that they're the one that got the bragging rights.
Oh, shoot you. Oh, shoot you. Both of them. Both of them.
Well, from one JD to another, we can hand over now to Josh Denzel so we can find out for the unveiling of the 5v5. Never been seen before. Are you ready?
Matchroom against Queen. Frank against Eddie. And let me tell you, I can't wait. Now, we would, at this time, like to thank our hosts and those that have made this groundbreaking event possible. The custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman. And the Chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, GIA, His Excellency, Turki Al Sheikh. Why are we here? This is a rivalry that runs deep. It spans generations, passed down from father to son, a rivalry born even before their foray into boxing. In the early 1970s, Frank and Eddie Hearn's father, Barry, butted heads in business, delivering pool tables and machines into pubs across the capital, and it only got bigger from there. From there, with the help of their sons, of course, Eddie, grew into the biggest and most recognizable boxing promotional outfits this country has ever seen. With Matchroom Boxing and Queensberry promoting some of the biggest fighters throughout their careers, biggest names in the sport, such as Nigel Benn, Ricky Hatton, Prince Nassim Hamed, Canelo, Tyson Fury, and Anthony Joshua, just to name a few. This rivalry no doubtably grew and grew and grew, and potentially can be settled when they pit their best, all thanks to the visionary ideas of His Excellency, Turki Al Sheikh. Now, before we get into it, I want to break down some of the rules of this 5v5 because we have a bespoke set. Now, both Frank and Eddie had the chance to pick 2 weight divisions each for their fighters to be contested in. And the final weight category was picked by His Excellency, Turki Al Sheikh. Now, we're going to find out very, very soon who will be representing Team Matchroom and Team Queensberry. Now, the rules are a little bit different here. We're going to get 1 point for a decision win. We're going to get 2 points for a ref stoppage or TKO. A draw is no points. And as a kicker, both captains' scores will be doubled. And Eddie and Frank are going to pick their captains, so it's better to go for broke. Now I've done enough speaking. I think it's time to hand over to our MC for the day, Dev Sani, to introduce some of these fighters.
Okay, if the fighters can please come and take their seats. You're going to enjoy this, ladies and gentlemen. There's something very special about what we're about to see. Never been seen before. The fighters will now come up here and take their seats.
It's a Riyadh season original, and original is definitely the word that comes to mind. This could be a movie. Now I think it's time, Dev, to bring in the two men, their head honchos. Why this fight is happening. You can see them behind me. I think it's time we bring them in, right?
I agree, Josh. I think it's time. It is now time to welcome to the stage the man with perhaps the loudest mouth in boxing. You may recognise him from the front cover of Men's Health magazine or from the 400 YouTube interviews a day. Proudly representing Brentwood, Essex, please welcome the chairman of Matchroom Boxing, Mr. Eddie Hearn.
You're looking very smug, Eddie. Confident.
All right, now let's welcome to the stage the Hall of Fame boxing promoter who has spent over 40 years promoting the biggest stars and fight nights in the UK. You may know him for his no-nonsense approach, and he may have even asked you to do him a favour. Proudly representing Islington, London, please welcome the chairman of Queensberry Promotions, Mr. Frank Warren.
The governor's in town. I've got to say, boys, you both look very confident. I've never seen so much tea from both of you.
Well, you've got to believe in what you're doing, and we believe in what we're doing with our team. We've got the team here. All will be revealed soon.
There we go. Listen, I started off and I briefly touched on this rivalry and how long it's been going on, the fact that it stretches through generations. But I think who better to ask than you two? Eddie, I'm going to start with you. Where did it start?
Well, I mean, many decades ago, you know, you were talking about fruit machines and billiard halls. I mean, even before they were recognised names, there was almost a rivalry. Even growing up as a kid, 9, 10, 11 years old, I'd hear the name in the house. It wasn't always the most pleasant conversation, but they were on the phone arguing and they were rivals. And I think the rivalry has been great for British boxing. You know, it's enabled the sport to grow. And, you know, Frank, same as my old man, same as me, we like to win. Yeah. And we don't like anyone else to win. And, you know, it is actually quite remarkable as we talk every week and we meet multiple times with His Excellency, that it has actually taken this long for us to work together, or even to speak. I mean, you're talking about 13 or 14 years where we never spoke. And it's not good for the sport of boxing. The rivalry's good, the competition's good, but now we take it to another level with events like this. And, you know, people talk about coming together for financial gain. Of course, we're running a business, but we come together because of the vision of His Excellency, who basically slapped us both around the ear and said, what on earth are you doing? Because he couldn't quite understand why you wouldn't want to make the biggest fights. Why wouldn't the two biggest promoters in the world want to work together and give fans the matchup? Now we've got the rivalry, the team concept. I mean, I went backstage, I bumped into this lot. They were going to lynch me. I mean, this is serious. We have to win. And although we're friends now, we're not really. I want to absolutely destroy Queensberry on June the 1st, as I said. And we will be there on the night, you know, beating our chests, willing our guys on. And these are massive fights for our guys. You've got world championships, you've got huge heavyweight dust-ups, you've got big domestic fights, you've got career-defining and ending fights. And one thing that I know that we do share in common is we love our fighters and we want them to win desperately. And this five I've got here, I'm very confident we'll do the business in Riyadh.
Fighting words early on in the presser. Frank, was it the same for you? Was the Hearn name, he shall not be named? Or was it always that deep?
We were partners for a while. We did a breakaway snooker thing, Barry and myself, many, many years ago. And so very briefly, we were partners. And we did actually speak quite a few times over the 14 years, I've got to be honest. Those calls you were getting in the middle of the night, they were from me. No, this is, you know, there is a natural rivalry, we get that. We both love the sport, we both want to win because we're, as Eddie says, we're competitive. We both feel for our fighters. We pick the weights and the teams that we feel will make sure that will happen. And through His Excellency, so much has happened since October, since that first fight in October with Tyson and Ngannou. And I said it would be a game changer, and I underestimated that. It's been a double game changer. It's been nothing like this. And this is a Riyadh season original on the 1st of June. This is something, things like this, I can't even remember anything like this ever happening in boxing. So I think this will be the first of, hopefully be the first of many of these encounters. And I'm sure Eddie will want another one, for a rematch to try and get his own back after we wipe the floor with him. But this is going to be something special. It's going to be a fabulous night's boxing on a card that has 4 belts on the line. 4 belts on the line, 2 undefeated fighters that we just spoke about in the previous contest. And this, don't get any better. You're a fight fan, you're in fight heaven. This is something that people will talk about in years to come. And we want to win it. Eddie's team want to win it, his fighters want to win it, we want to win it. We're all competitive. Everyone's competitive. You know why? Because it's called the fight game. There's winners and losers, and we are not and don't want to be the losers. Everything's on the line here. So June 1st, watch it, because you're going to see something extra special.
Frank, it didn't feel that long ago, Eddie, that we were on this very stage and we were talking about a completely different fight, and then His Excellency had a visionary idea of putting you two against each other, head to head, picking your best, almost like schoolyard rules. Did you ever believe that it would actually happen?
Once His Excellency said it was going to happen, it was going to happen. Because everything he says he wants to do with his vision and paves the way for us to go out and then make it happen. But yeah, he says it's going to happen. I'm telling you, it will happen.
What would it mean for you to win this, Eddie?
It's only winning. Everything else. People talk about taking part. Couldn't be more irrelevant. Winning. It's the only thing that matters in sport, in life. And as Frank said, this is the fight game, the greatest sport in the world. And we're all very lucky to be working in a period now where these events are happening, and these fighters as well. We want to thank, of course, Sella and His Excellency and the team who not just make the fights happen, make the event happen, make the promo happen. I think shortly you will see one of the best promos I've ever seen. These 5 have already been out to Bulgaria on a Hollywood film set, having an experience of a lifetime. And this is what it is. It's big-time boxing. It's putting boxing on the map with the major sports in the world. The purest, most beautiful, greatest sport of all is professional boxing. And now it's getting the attention it deserves, and the fans are getting the big fights and the big nights they've craved for a long time.
Frank, would you echo Eddie's sentiments there?
Every word of it. See, we agree. Every word of it. This is, this, for me, I've been doing this now for 47 years, and I can't tell you how it makes you feel to be involved in this. It's like life-changing, and it's just so brilliant. And it's getting bigger and bigger. It's like this snowball coming down the hill. It's rolling down, and it's unstoppable. And event after event after event gets bigger and bigger and better. And here we are now, hopefully the first of our rivalry. And who knows, we may join ourselves together and fight somebody from the States or another part of the world. Who knows how we do this, but this is magnificent for boxing. It's magnificent for the fans. They're getting what they want. Evenly matched fights, unifications. It's all happening. It's all happening in Riyadh. It's all part of the Riyadh season, and it's just been so phenomenal. And game-changing, and I'm going to repeat myself, I underestimated that in a big way. This has changed everything about boxing.
There we go. Now, this is where we're all here for. Dev, I think it's time that we find out who exactly is behind these masks.
I think it's time, Josh. Well, Frank Warren has picked the heavyweight division. Would Frank Warren's heavyweight pick please take off their mask?
Whoa, dangerous stand.
Well, he is a native of Greenwich, London, England. He has an outstanding record of 20 wins, only 2 defeats, with 19 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the former British, Commonwealth and WBA regular heavyweight champion, Triple D, Daniel Dynamite Dubois. Okay, well, we've got Daniel Dubois in one corner. Will the Matchroom heavyweight pick please remove his mask? He is a native of Zagreb, Croatia. He is unbeaten with a record of 17 wins and no defeats, with 14 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the Olympic bronze medalist and IBF mandatory challenger, Filip El Animal Hrgović.
What a fight, eh? That is a great heavyweight fight. What a fight.
I think actually I've become a little bit of a fan of a few Queensberry fighters, being part of these shows. Nick Ball, one of them, robbed last time out to become world champion.
We haven't announced Nick Ball yet.
Oh my God. No, I'm saying I'm just a fan of him. I don't know what you're going on about. I don't know why you had to say that. But in terms of Daniel Dubois, a real character and a great fighter. However, this man we've been working with for a number of years now. And in my opinion, this is an elite heavyweight in Filip Hrgović, a guy who is on the verge of becoming world champion. We'll see what happens with the belts. We know there's a potential carrot for the winner of this fight in a massive fight, whoever that may be. But what a heavyweight matchup, Filip Hrgović against Daniel Dubois. Great matchup, and of course, 1-0 to Matchroom.
Well, Eddie Hearn has picked the featherweight. Eddie Hearn has picked the featherweight division. There is no guarantee it's anyone that's already been named. Will the Matchroom featherweight please now take their mask off?
Whoa.
He is a native of Camden, New Jersey, USA. An outstanding record of 15 wins, no defeats with 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the reigning, defending WBA World Featherweight Champion, Raymond Savage Ford. And now it's time for the Queensberry featherweight to remove his mask again. We don't know who it is. Please remove your mask. Well, he is a native of Liverpool, England, an outstanding record of 19 wins, no defeats with 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the former WBC silver featherweight champion, Nick the Wrecking Ball. Okay, let's continue now. Promoter Frank Warren has picked the middleweight division. Will the Queensberry middleweight please remove their mask?
Whoa.
He is a native of Ilford, London, England, unbeaten with a record of 19 wins and no defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the reigning Commonwealth and WBC silver middleweight champion, Hamza Shiraz! Okay, it's now time for his opponent on June 1st. We asked the Matchroom middleweight to please remove your mask. Well, here's a native of Houston, Texas, USA, unbeaten with a record of 16 wins, no defeats. Introducing the former standout amateur sensation and reigning IBF North American middleweight champion, Austin Ammo Williams. Okay, well, promoter Eddie Hearn has selected the light heavyweight division. will the Matchroom light heavyweight please remove your mask? He's a native of Crystal Palace, London, England. An outstanding record of 18 wins, 3 defeats and 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Craig Spider Richards. Well, let's meet his June 1st opponent. Will the Queensberry light heavyweight please remove your mask? He is a native of Carstairs, Scotland, an outstanding record of 17 wins with only 1 defeat. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the former world amateur champion, Willie the Hutch Train Hutchinson. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for the final pick, His Excellency has chosen for there to be another fight in the marquee division of boxing, in the heavyweight division. Will the Queensberry pick please remove your mask? Well, he is a native of Xinjiang, China, now fighting out of Bloomfield, New Jersey, USA. A record of 26 wins, 2 defeats and 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Zhilei Big Bang Zhang! Okay, the final pick will now be unveiled. Will the Matchroom heavyweight pick please remove your mask? He is a native of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, USA. He brings to the stage an incredible record, 43 wins, only 3 defeats and 1 draw, with an incredible 42 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the former long-reigning WBC World Heavyweight Champion, the Bronze Bomber, Deontay Wilder!
Eddie, I've got to start with you. I didn't see that one coming. Can we talk about Deontay Wilder? I think in football, that's what we call a super sub.
Super sub, indeed. His Excellency said for the wild card pick, we could find the best fighter we could. I looked at the heavyweights available. I think this man has long been one of the most dangerous punchers in the division. Coming off a defeat, I think he's going to come back more dangerous than ever. And, you know, when we spoke to Shelley and the team and Deontay, this was the obvious pick to make. Deontay Wilder against Zhilei Zhang is a massive, massive heavyweight fight between 2 punchers. And we'll see what the future holds. But for one night only, we work together. And I believe this man's going to make a real statement and get back on the heavyweight scene and produce an epic performance in Riyadh.
Well, if you're going to bring in a ringer, that's one way to do it, Eddie. Now, Frank, now you've seen the boys up close and personal on the same stage. You confident?
Yeah, look, I'm a fan of all the guys. They're good. He's got a very, very good and strong team now. But we got belief in our guys, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am looking forward to it. This is going to be spectacular. There's so much at stake, and I know that Deontay, for example, looking at him, he knows how important this fight is to him. His career's on the line, and it's the same with Zhilei. This fight is a big, big match for them. The winner of this goes back to the top table. So everything's on the line. That's the competition. That's how competitive that fight's going to be.
Listen, before we get into the nuts and bolts of this, I'm going to come to each fighter, get a quick word of how they feel about their matchup. Daniel, I'm going to start with you. You feeling confident? You look over there to the far side. Filip Hrgovic, it's a big fight.
Very, very confident, you know, working hard, and I'm just ready to prove, you know. We had a spar a while back, and he keeps talking about that, so I'm going to just show him that people change, and, you know, I'm a different animal now.
Fighting words. Filip, how do you respond to that?
I hope so. He changed, because if he didn't change it, it would last few rounds only. So I hope so. He changed, man. That sparring wasn't good for him. So I hope so. You changed. And
we can save those fighting words for when we really go hammer and tong. It's a bit later on in the day. Craig, good to see you. You know who you're up against.
Yeah. Good seeing your lads today. Obviously, thank God, thank Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, Frank Smith, and He Excellency for putting me on this show. I'm excited and can't wait.
Nick.
What's going on?
Hello, lad. Good to see you again.
Yeah.
You happy with your music this time?
Yeah. Better winner.
Listen, last time out, it was very, very close. You're up against another dangerous opponent. Confident you're going to get points on the board for Team Queensberry?
Yeah, always confident. It's another massive opportunity for me, thanks to His Excellency and Frank for getting me the opportunity. So, looking forward to the fight now, yeah.
Right. How would you respond?
5-0. That's all I can say. I'm going for the knockout, though.
Nice and easy. Ammo Williams, the next US star, they're saying, in Eddie Hearn's stable. Now you're in the UK. We're going to be fighting in Saudi. How you feeling? The glasses are saying you're a superstar. You got to win with them on.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited. First, I just want to give thanks to everybody involved. This event is massive. It's massive, and I just want to say thank you to everybody involved in making it happen. I'm so ready to showcase my skill. I'm so ready to showcase all the investment, all the fights, everything that we've done together, me and Eddie Hearn, and it will shine through in Saudi Arabia, June 1st. Don't miss it.
Hamza, I seem to see you at every fight. You're a busy man, always looking suave.
Yep. Yeah, no, first of all, I'd like to thank the Almighty Allah for allowing me to be here today. I'd like to thank His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh for making it happen. I'd like to thank Ricky, my team, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready. June the 1st. It's going to be a Queensberry win for sure.
Willie, you can just about see Craig down there. How you feeling?
I can't see him.
We'll take a step back. Willie, mate, you can look in his eyes.
Hello.
What's going on? You good?
Good.
Hey,
Very good.
Perfect. You look confident. Every fight, every interview I see, you're buzzing. Still that confidence today?
Yeah, I'm buzzing. Obviously, thank you very much for the Prince, the Sheikh, for giving me, and Frank and everyone giving me the opportunity to be here. And I'm as confident as confidence is through the roof. I'm looking forward to getting in the ring with this fella and having a good time and enjoying myself. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting in the ring now. I don't know if it was a good idea you giving me this mic, you know.
I know. Listen, we've only got a short amount of time. We've got some stuff to show you.
I would stay for 2 hours if we
Listen, you get your opportunity. Don't worry, I'll come back to you a little bit later. But now, before we speak to the two giants here on the stage, I got a sneak peek of it yesterday, and I'm telling you, the acting skills are incredible. You will not see promo like this ever. The levels keep on rising. Enough talking from me. I think we run the promo.
Gentlemen, you know my rules. We'll have no around and absolutely no funny business. We're going to wait our turn and maintain our manners at all times, or this game is over before it's even begun. Frank, let's have you do the honours. Age before beauty, Eddie. Let's get some fights made. I haven't got all night.
Chop, chop, Frankie. Off you go.
Chop, chop indeed. That's a cleaver swinging, and there's a killer behind it. He's enjoying his first Friday as a butcher. When two guys come in to collect, as they always do, where's our money, they demand from his boss. Our butcher here doesn't take too kindly to the noise. He calmly asks, "Can I help you?" Before they can respond, crash. Bang. And a wallop. They wake up on the pavement the next morning. Nice sausages, though.
Cute. What a lovely bedtime story. Flip it, sweetheart.
Watch your mouth.
The jeweller. This kid's a proper diamond. Rocks, chains, watches. Knock, knock. Who's there? 3 blokes come crashing through the door. Lost Property's closed on a Monday, boys. He smiles, but some people just can't take no for an answer. I don't think this is yours, they say. The front man throws a punch. My man slips it. Bang! He pops the next man's nose like a bloody balloon. You've broken my nose. He goes, bang! And it's outside, and a quick way down for the challenger.
Let's see what you're packing, Eddie.
Picture this. You got yourself into one of the most dangerous man's houses in the East End. You're browsing his gallery for your nan's next wall piece.
Looked after his nan. Oh.
When you come face to face with a colourful character himself and his lovely sawn-off shotgun, you slip the first shot, leaving with a shiner to remember you by. That's another one for his nan's collection.
They say if you love what you do, you'll never have to work another day in your life. He's never had a CV. Just a fist. So he got a job as a doorman. And like the saying goes, if you can't take the heat, then why are you even in the kitchen?
Talking about kitchens, this man is a cook. And he doesn't take customer feedback too well either. That's not the way I like it. Get back in there and make me another, customer says. Wallop. Now that's one way to enjoy a haggis.
It's the ones that work in the shadows are the ones you want to look out for. He shouts at my lad, get over here and clean this blood off the canvas. My lad steps inside the ring. Where's your mop? He said he'd clean the floor with him. Night, night.
I can always respect a man that takes out the rubbish.
This lot in the same room's gonna be trouble. Come on, then.
This man's an artist. My lad's a perfectionist, a visionary, fists like cast iron. His boss comes over. What's taking you so long? I'm thinking, he says. Next minute, it's bang.
Now, houses aren't this man's forte. He likes fixing cars and breaking jaws. If you happen to find your way into this man's garage looking for trouble, saying things like, should I trash the place? Should I burn the place? You're generally leaving toothless, I'm afraid.
Last two cards, gents.
Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear tyres and ride double-deckers. So when someone disrupts his peaceful commute, crash, his head through the window.
This man's been behind the wheel all day. What does he see? Some having some old girl's handbag. He hammers his foot to the pedal. He steps out of the taxi to finish the job right there on the pavement. She even tipped him a fiver.
June the 1st, make sure your mob are there.
Troops assembled.
Shake hands, boys. Let's have a fair fight.
Have you ever seen anything like that? Incredible promo. Boys, I think you should get IMDb credits if you... but listen, if you do another one of them, I'm serious, it could be a career.
That was just an incredible experience. We were filming for about 6 hours on that table. And as I said, all of these fighters flew out to Bulgaria for a couple of days. And I just want to, you know, I know we're all forever thanking His Excellency, but thank you not just for making the fights, but the vision for boxing and allowing these fighters to express themselves and showcase their personality and their stories. And I know every one of these guys absolutely loved it. And it's how you spin a narrative. It's how you tell a story that gets people excited. And that was absolutely brilliant. I mean, I thought Frank was very good. I was sensational, but, you know.
It never stops. A career change for any of you boys on this table? Slightly easier acting than doing what you're doing.
They're not going to give up their day jobs.
Now, His Excellency surprised us with a pick at heavyweight, so I think it's time we hear from the fighters from the weight division that he chose. Deontay, the super sub. In England, we might call you a ringer, which means when you get a player who doesn't usually play for you that's very good. How are you feeling being up here?
I feel good. Man, it's a blessing just to be back in the scenes of everything. I'd like to thank Frank, Warren, Queensberry, Eddie Hearn's, Matchroom Promotion. Nobody ever thought with me and old Eddie would be working together. So this is an ultimate surprise right here. And like Eddie said to Frank, you know, it's a shame that we can't work together in the business of boxing. This is what it's all about. The best fighting the best promoters going against the best promoters, to putting fighters together. And I love the scenery. I love how Your Excellency, you know, Turkey come in and his staff, and they rearrange and change the way boxing is promoted and done. And I'm looking for that acting career after. Yeah. You don't have to get hit. But, you know, I'm looking forward to the fight. Zane, I respect Zane. He's a good fighter, and I respect him for that. But it's my time, you know. I've been through a lot, you understand me? And I've had to regroup. I've had to get myself together. And things just don't change overnight. Things don't change for the next fight or so. You have to keep working. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep working. You have to keep pushing, keep working, keep pushing until you get what you want. And I'm at this point in time where I'm narrowing it down. And come the night of the fight, we'll see if I got it or not. This fight, I'm holding it as my last stance, my last chance, you know, and that's what I'm taking it accordingly as, you know. And I'm just ready to do what I'm known to do. You understand? To be the wilder that I am. You know, I lost my love and the passion for this business. I lost my hunger for so many different reasons, you know. But now I'm in an opportunity where I'm dealing with people that love the craziness, that love the wildness of Wilder, the love that Wilder that say he want a body on his record, Wilder. And it's amazing to be around people that appreciate what they see in front of them. It's amazing to be, you know, tied into people that love what we do. People don't understand what we do and how we have to do it and get to that point. This is not an easy task that we do. Boxing is strictly a business. It's not a sport for me. I always say the business of boxing, and that's what it is. Accordingly, we risk our lives for you guys' entertainment, and here I am again. I'm not playing around this time. I have nothing to lose. I feel like I've lost a lot of things in my life, even some of the closest people in my life. So I don't feel like I have nothing else to lose, but only to gain. And this fight, we're going to tell, we're going to see. It's enough of the talking. I even told my team, I don't want to hear how good I look, how I am, this and this. I'm not going to even be posting too much this time around because I mean business. I can feel the desire and the sensation in my heart again. That hunger, that monster, that beast is coming back. The pain that I've endured over these last years, it's going to be, you will see what I'm talking about comes the night of the fight. So good luck to all, and to all a good night.
Strong words there from Deontay. You can see it means a lot. And the man that's going to be on the other end of that pain that Deontay is channeling is Zhilei Zhang. Zhang, you're representing, you're His Excellency's pick. You're representing Team Queensberry. You're up against one of the most destructive punchers in the division. You are one of the most destructive punchers in the division. You looking to end this one early?
在经历过这一番陈词之后啊，你觉得在比赛的当天，你有机会提前终结这个比赛吗？
首先再次来到伦敦，感谢 His Excellency， 感谢 Queensberry， 感谢沃伦，再一次让我站到世界顶级的舞台上面。博尔德是一个重炮手，实力非常强悍，但是我要小心，非常小心。然后，但是我也是一个技术型的重炮手。如果我看到机会，我手下不会手软。
First of all, it's a pleasure for me to be in London again. Thank you to His Excellency. Thank you to Frank Warren for making this happen. Wilder across the table, he's the heaviest puncher in boxing. It's very dangerous. I have to be really careful, really cautious. But when the opportunity shows itself, I'm not going to hold back.
There we go. Strong words. Prediction, you're going to get that win. It's going to be a knockout. Guys, I think that is all we got time for. You'll hear from these fighters in the build-up to this huge event. I could stand up here and talk to you guys all day. Feels like we're just getting started. But it's only right now that we stand and we get some photos. Team v team, Frank and Eddie, Queensberry against Matchroom, 5v5. I can't wait. And I know the media are absolutely buzzing that we finally get to see who's representing each promotional outfit. Thank you very much.
Well, it wasn't short of a spectacle. I give him that. As Josh Denzel just wraps up over my shoulder. Incredible promotion once again, Carl. I feel like the promotion team deserves as much acknowledgement as anything else.
I mean, before we even start talking about the fights, I've never seen anything quite like that. That was unbelievable.
It's incredible.
I mean, some of the boys actually looked like they could act a bit as well.
Nick Ball looked like he could do that before.
Yeah,
It looked like
it was very, very good.
I want so much to take in there. I think we should probably just take a deep breath first of all and just acknowledge this is real now. You know what I mean?
I'm just delighted that we can actually mention the fighters' names.
Thank gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it says on the tin, it's literally 50-50 fights, 5 of them, plus the main event, which is another 50-50 fight. How can you not like us? How can you not like? And I mean, it's not like when I say 50-50, we talk about styles and stuff of the fighters.
Yep.
None of these fights are going to be dull. They're all going to be cracking fights. So, I mean, I'm very, very excited about it.
They're going to be exceptional, and this is the best part. We get to turn man into the face-off right there. Filip Hrgović. I think about how long he's positioned himself in that IBF position, especially for a world championship opportunity. And Daniel Dubois, who's revitalised his career now and going in the right direction that Frank would have believed beforehand. Interesting matchup between these two.
Yeah, it really is. It's definitely more to lose for Filip Hrgović. As you said, he's the IBF mandatory. I think his thinking behind this is obviously, look, he's going to get paid really well, but he's thinking that I need to keep busy while I'm waiting on the belts to become available, whether it's Usyk or Fury or whoever it is. Yep. He can't just sit by and fight guys that he's expected to beat all the time. This is a tough test for him, so credit to him for taking the risk. And Daniel Dubois, a guy who in his last couple of fights I think has really, really impressed me. I think he's improving. I think the fight against Miller, I think he came through a lot of adversity. He had to bite down the gum shield, which we hadn't seen before previously in his career, and he's been criticised for that a little bit. But I think he'll have learned a lot from the Miller fight. And again, another 50-50. But
contrast of styles here, though. I love what I saw Ray Ford do in terms of to get that WBA strap and how impressive he was back in March. But then Nick Ball, again, he could turn around and arguably have the WBC sitting on his shoulder right now.
Both guys are probably disappointed this isn't for a unification fight, because in my eyes, Nick Ball won the fight against Vargas. He should be a world champion, but he's not. But look at the height difference here. This isn't something that's new to Nick Ball. This is
he enjoys it.
He enjoys it. I think he likes.
I think he almost likes looking up at people.
I think so.
I think it's something about him that probably gives him that little bit of a mental edge that he's just taking it all in. And this one as well. I mean, first of all, credit to Ammo Williams. I like the way he put himself together today. Yeah. But Hamza Shiraz is someone that we both know quite well, who's worked with. We've seen his development. We've seen what he's turned around and done on big stages in terms of being a headline. How do you think he's going to accept the challenge?
Yeah, I mean, again, another risky fight for both guys who are very, very close to be fighting for world titles, and the loser kind of goes back a few steps again. So the winner in my eyes of this fight his next fight should be for a world title. Hopefully His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh will be able to make that happen. But I mean, Hamza Shiraz, for me, I was speaking to Ammo Williams backstage. Lovely kid, and a great fighter as well.
Great fighter.
But I've been really high on Hamza Shiraz for quite a while now. Difficult fight for both boys, but yeah, it's another one I'm excited about.
I know quickly, because I know they're moving very quickly in terms of the stage, but how's Hamza going to handle the different element that Ammo's going to bring? Typical American fighter. You know he's going to be loud, you know he's going to be vocal.
Yeah.
He's going to give a different element.
I think he'll be alright. Look, he's in a gym as well where he trains in America. He's been coming across these guys in the gym, sparring all the time, so it's something he'd be well used to. Hamza is very, very relaxed, always just kind of thinking about business, and that's it, nothing personal.
Super close relationship with Spider Richards, speaking from a personal sense. Got to know Willie Hutchinson in terms of his last performance down at York Hall. Again, it's just really good matchmaking in terms of these styles these two are going to have.
Yeah.
What do you kind of make of this one?
Really good fights. I think Richards is a quality fighter, really dogged and fit and trying to drag people into deep ends a lot. And Willie Hutchinson, quality fighter, can really punch hard. I think it suited him since he's moved up to light heavyweight. One issue though is Willie. I think the most rounds Willie's ever done is 7.
Yep.
So that, as the fight goes on and progresses, that may be something that he has to deal with. But again, I just keep saying it without sounding like a broken record. Another 50-50, hard to call fight.
Great call there in terms of the longevity of the fight. Because you think about some of the gruels that Spider's been in, especially domestically or even on the world scene against
He
Bivol.
knows how to do it. He knows how to do it.
Especially the second half of fights. And then the wild card, as they turn around and say, I mean, no matter what anybody says, it's incredible to always have Deontay Wilder back in the building. Automatic box off, automatic going to sell tickets. And Jilly Zhang, he doesn't do short, he doesn't do small fights. He doesn't do standout performances. He just knocks people out on the tin.
Another quality heavyweight fight against, it's the former world heavyweight champion against someone who, is world class. He's a world class fighter,
world class operator.
I think that the issue for both these guys is they both gas as the fight goes on. But for me, that makes it exciting because I don't think the fight goes a distance. Someone's going to get knocked out probably in the second half when they start to unravel a little bit.
You can hear a pin drop in here, and that is the tension that heavyweights bring. I like that. That was a really important moment because out of all the face-offs we've had so far, some have got in each other's face. Both fighters clearly are respecting each other's sense, but they say that you can't take too much from a face-off. What do you take from there? That was intense, and they both kind of feel.
Again, are we listening to him?
Oh, Josh has got another surprise for us, clearly. Well, since we've got them head-to-head, before they come down and join us, let's head with Josh Denzel and see what the last surprise is.
You're looking at your team, you've just seen them face off. I think now is the perfect time. You've seen them eye to eye, you've seen a glint and a glimmer of something. I'm going to come to you, Eddie, first. Who is going to be your captain? Who, if he scores a TKO, 2 points, a win, 1 point, ref's decision. So that's going to be double bubble. It's going to count for twice as much. Eddie, who is your captain going to be?
Yeah, this format, the captain's pick is very important because double the points, it could be the difference between winning and losing. We've got a fantastic team. I'm very proud of all of them. Today I looked them all in the eye and I looked into the souls and I wanted to make sure this guy who I pick as captain will bring absolutely everything. And the Matchroom captain for June the 1st is the bronze bomber, Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder, bomb squad, look at that. Looks regal. It looks like he can carry the weight of the captaincy on his shoulders. It's nothing new to him. Now, Frank, you've got the joy of going second. You've seen who this man has picked as captain, who he thinks is going to get double bubble against Zhang. Frank, who's your captain, the captain of Queensberry?
He's somebody I've got the utmost faith in. I've got faith in all the guys. He's been with me from day one. He's a phenomenal fighter. And I love watching him in the ring, and his last couple of performances, he's done everything you could ask of him in absolute style. So, as you've guessed, the captain is Hamza Shiraz.
Hamza Shiraz, captain. His points are worth double bubble. The jeopardy is definitely here. Now, can I get the fighters to join group photo on stage? Because the surprises keep coming. I'm going to leave it to Dev because we have a massive surprise here in a day of surprises. Dev Sani, take it away.
Thank you very much, Josh Denzel. Well, as we know, on May the 18th, the Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship will be on the line between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. We've seen the Undisputed belt up on the screen. Now let's see it in person, and we've got someone very, very special to bring it out. Let's introduce him. He is a native of Panama City, Panama. He retired with over 100 wins in his career. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the former lightweight, welterweight, super welterweight, and middleweight world champion, simply one of the greatest fighters in history, Roberto Hands of Stone Duran. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the undisputed belt on the line May 18th between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. What a belt, and what a fighter holding that belt. Okay, everyone, just hold on stage for now. We have another special guest that will be joining us very, very shortly. Please welcome the chairman of GIA, His Excellency himself, Turki Al-Sheikh. And before His Excellency comes to the stage, let's bring the main event out here to the front. Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. Undisputed light heavyweight championship on the line. The main event on June the 1st. Okay, let's now welcome to the stage the chairman of GIA, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh.
Just when I thought these spectacles couldn't get any better, I mean, greatness doesn't describe how the boxing community and just everybody feels about Roberto Duran. And honestly, I'm a little bit in awe the fact that he's here and he's in the building, and I think about all of the fights that I watched as a kid on VCR. That shows you how long ago it is.
What a fighter, a hero of mine, certainly. One of probably a few, but Duran's probably top of the list. In my opinion, the greatest lightweight of all time. What a fighter, absolute animal.
I just think to myself now, where are we going to go with the next one? Is it Sugar Ray next?
I know what's going on. Maybe Duran and Sugar Ray have a fight. Who knows?
I'm telling you, the surprises and what it shows you, the magnificent sort of spectacle that's being put on, and seeing Roberto Duran in the middle of Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren should bring a smile to any boxing person's face, because in his generation, he fought everybody.
Oh, everybody.
He
went up through the weight divisions and he done it as well. I mean, like, and he fought, I think his career spanned actually over 4 decades. I think he made 100%. His debut in like 69 and fought in 2001 or something like that.
Against Camacho right at the end. So
absolutely incredible.
I mean,
like,
over 100, I think it's 119. It's just ridiculous.
People don't do that anymore.
They just
it just doesn't happen. You're never going to see another fighter unless he's a journeyman with 100 odd fights.
You're talking about a born fighter there, someone that lives and breathes the sport and everything that goes alongside it. I actually came in with him, and when I saw him today, I took a deep breath and thought to myself, wow, Roberto Duran is in the building. That really shows you, as a broadcaster, as someone who you understand as a fighter, you take a deep breath and you say to yourself, it's incredible.
Yeah, of course, it's special. I mean, this is a special event, and you get special people involved. Roberto Duran isn't coming over for a show in the York Hall or anything like that. This is a massive,
next week,
this is a massive fight, global event, and that is why we have people here like Roberto Duran.
It's just sensational. So, all right, we can take a deep breath and we can resume, obviously, normal procedure now. All of the fighters are sort of coming off the stage, and you can imagine everything else that's going on here. The world's media is behind us. Everyone's trying to get a picture with Roberto Duran. You got one already, right?
I got a couple.
That's the access of a fighter. Yeah, that's the access of another world champion. I appreciate it. So, Carl, look, there's going to be so much noise now around this, and we've now got to continue to build this up. So I want to start with the wild card. Let's just start with the random and the heavyweights, because the heavyweight division is always going to be the pinnacle of any boxing scene. Sorry. But I will turn around and say to you, just Yang versus Wilder, what's your initial thoughts when just looking at them?
I think it's just a really good fight. Again, like we talked about, the issue for both guys is they blow up it and they gas in fights. but they can both really punch hard. And that's I can't see this fight going the distance. There's absolutely no way it goes the distance. I think it's someone wins by knockout, and it's probably the one that unravels first that gets knocked out. I think it's going to be knockout definitely. I would stick my house on it that this fight doesn't go the distance.
I want to know in terms of we'll have a look at all of the team players, and I know those at home can turn around and see them. We'll go through all of them, the 5v5, because that's exactly what we're here to do. So we'll unpack it. We'll stay in the heavyweight again, and we'll turn around and stick with. I'm looking at one side, I see Daniel Dubois, I see Filip Hrgovic on the opposite side, as Frank Warren gets ready to join us here. We'll ask him a question in a second, but for you, when you turn around and see those two, both very hungry heavyweights, both still in their prime, still looking to turn around and change the game and change their trajectory in this scene, what do you want to turn around and see from both of them? Frank, it's perfect timing. Always a pleasure to have you on the broadcast.
Pleasure to be here.
You look sharp as always. I always turn around and say to you. We were just unraveling.
Hold on a minute. Can we just talk about that promo?
Yeah,
Frank?
that's exactly what we wanted to get into.
I've never seen anything like it.
I'm not giving up the day job.
No, I thought you were all right.
Frank, you got a second career coming, haven't you?
Yeah, but I can always play an old geezer in some snuff movie.
But look, when you think about it, you take everything into perspective. Roberto Duran being here in terms of unveiling the Undisputed belt, just the quality of fighters that you turn around and see, top of the bill to the bottom of the bill. Where do we start, Frank, is the better question.
Well, I think you start by you have to click your fingers and wake up. And am I in a boxing dream here? I mean, or a boxing fantasy dream? You know, they're just competitive fights. Every fight on there is a competitive fight. 50-50 all the way through, from the top to the bottom. 4 belts on the line with the 2 light heavyweights. That in itself is a momentous fight and occasion. And then you come down and you see. Sorry.
I know it's almost.
You come down and you see. You come down and then you see what we're putting together between our two teams, and we are behind the scenes. We're competitive to the public, but behind the scenes, we both equally feel we want to win this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not nonsense. We want to win it, and that's how it is. And it's such a competitive card. It's a great card.
This is the only time I'm ever going to pass on instructions to either of you, just because of how noisy it is in here. The fans at home want to make sure you hear you, so you're right up to the top. Eddie, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I gave the compliment to Frank about how sharp he looked. Your acting skills aren't too bad yourself.
Listen, I go casual these days.
Yeah,
for the midlife
I was
crisis.
surprised.
That happens when you reach your mid-40s. But he's always looking so smart. I thought this morning, no, the whistle's coming on. So, no, it deserves it, this card. I mean, I know it's obviously Matchroom v Queensberry, but look at the matchups beneath Dmitry Bivol against Artur Beterbiev. You have got 6 pure 50-50 matchups. I know you can argue 60-40 either way, but basically, what a night of boxing. I mean, it's the best card we've ever seen. Day of Reckoning was great.
It was incredible.
But this has just got so much narrative, so much storyline. You've got Wilder and Zhang fighting it out for their careers. I mean, Dubois Hrgovic is brilliant. I love Hamza Shiraz against Ammo Williams. I know, these guys are really hot on Hamza. Nick Ford against Ray Ford against Nick Ball. Best featherweight in the world, in my opinion. Craig Richards against Willie Hutchinson.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pure 50-50 domestic matchup as well. So I just think it's an amazing card. Just shows you what you can do. I mean, I do think the rivalry's been good over the years because we've both tried our cojones off. But now, when we're sitting in the room and we're making matchups, this could have been 15 v 15, not 5 till 5, and hopefully it's the first of many.
It's cliche, isn't it, to say 50, but really this is 50-50 fights. It really is. Is there a fight that, and I'll put it to both of you, which fight in particular are you looking forward to?
I mean, for me,
taking the big one out of the scene.
For me, I mean, I think our biggest underdog on the card, if you like, I mean, I'm talking about marginal underdog, is Ammo Williams, because I think Hamza Shiraz, a great fighter. Don't forget as well the WBC talking about that being a final eliminator for a shot at a world championship for the winner. You can't look past Wilder Zhang, 2 massive punchers. I have to say, I'm really looking forward to Craig Richards against Willie Hutchinson. I know it's probably the first of the fights, but as a domestic sort of British European light heavyweight matchup, it's brilliant. And again, Nick Ball should be world champion. Ray Ford's the best 126 pounder in the world, in my opinion. That's going to be a brilliant fight.
We were just talking about up here, we're really unlucky to have that not as a unification fight sitting there on the bill. I want to find out from both of you, what was your thought process in terms of the captain decision? Frank, we'll go to you first. What did you think in terms of your selection? What was it behind?
What I did, first of all, he's a snappy dresser. I mean, he's a dude. But look, he's been with us from day one. He's been, everything that's been asked of him, he's done. He's done it in style. He's beat rated fighters, and he's done it, in brilliant style. And he deserves it. he's a leader, and he deserves to be a leader. You know, I could have picked any of the guys, same as Eddie. We could have picked any of them, but you know, I feel he's inspirational, and it was a toss-up. But it's him at the end of the day, leading a very strong and a good team, and you know, all the fights. It's very difficult. You know, you say which fight do you want to see. I want to see them all, because they're good quality matches. More importantly, with quality fighters in them. And there's a lot on the line. You know, Eddie's absolutely right what he says about Deontay and Zhang. The loser's really got a problem. So you want to see at the big table, you got to win the fight. That goes without saying. Daniel Dubois, you know, he keeps talking about when he was sparring with him. He was 17 when he sparred with him, which is couldn't even turn professional then.
Of course.
But he's a good fighter. Hrgovic got a lot of respect for him, and who knows, it might even get upgraded to an even bigger fight. We'll see what happens. But for Daniel, he can't afford to lose.
I think Daniel Dubois, after his last fight against Miller, I think he will improve as a fighter, because he had to bite down the gum shield and go through a bit of
exactly
adversity.
What he had to do.
I think it improves him as a fighter. You just saying about how you picked your captain and he's a leader and all that. Is there something in the back of your head saying 4 points for a knockout, he's the best chance of knocking their guy out?
No, I think we're going to win all 5 fights by knockout.
I actually agree with Frank in some respect. I don't think there is a chance all fights could end inside a distance.
We do agree on that.
I think there's a strong possibility. And Eddie, I want to know your thought process.
Yeah,
I don't think many people would have turned around
the
and put
most
you and
senior
Deontay
member.
Wilder
Listen, I
together.
mean, when His Excellency said the heavyweight division, I'm thinking about my stable, and I'm thinking, you know, Justice Honey's not quite ready. You know, I said, can we go and sign someone? And he said, no, for my wild card pick, you can go and sign anyone for the night. Now, I thought to myself, Deontay Wilder literally cannot stand me, but if somehow we can have a sensible conversation where
Love
one
and unity.
night only
Love and
I'm
unity.
representing Deontay
Frank
Wilder.
didn't stand you a year ago.
Yeah, I know, true. There's hope for us all. Probably you couldn't a couple of years ago.
No,
But, you know, it's been up and down, Carl. You know what I mean?
Form an orderly clue.
This is actually a common trend for everyone. So basically, no one can stand me.
That's not true.
So,
You're
but
right,
what
mate.
it was, I wanted Wilder because one, I thought, what a great addition to the card, and two, I think bouncing back from the defeat. I mean, that must have hurt so much, that Parker defeat. He lost the chance to fight Anthony Joshua in a blockbuster fight for a lot of money. And I just saw him today. I didn't make my pick till about 20 minutes before the presser, and I had a good chat with Deontay today, like half an hour in a hotel, just trying to reignite the fire. And I saw it in his eyes. He's got it. He wants to do damage in this fight, and I just wanted. He is the senior member of our team.
Yep.
And I just wanted him to make him feel like he's the man.
I think they're sensible picks for
I think they're
the
really good
captain for
picks.
both. I mean, we were asked without knowing, and I picked that you were going to pick Wilder and you were going to pick Hamza. So I think that they're really sensible picks for captains.
Yeah, I do think they're definitely sensible picks. Eddie, I'll come to you one more time because I just want to know in terms of taking this all in. I've seen how close your relationship is now, away from the cameras. It's genuine. I genuinely think there's an element of respect. There's always been an element of respect and competitiveness. But when does it switch for you guys? This is when I want to know, because I always ask the fighters when it switches. When are the promoters competitive?
We will sit down on the night and we will be screaming and shouting. It's what we do. It's what we love. You got to watch us at ringside at any fight. Everyone knows I jump in the ring too early. He's up going mental, screaming at the ring. I mean, but it's the passion that we have for the sport and for our guys. You know, we want them to achieve. We want them to change their lives. We want them to win. And, you know, people talk about, the one thing they say is, oh yeah, you know, His Excellency's brought these guys together through money. Of course, we're running a business. But I promise you, when we sit in that room and we talk about these upcoming cards and we talk about these nights, the smile on our faces for two people that genuinely love the sport of boxing, it's given me a little bit of a new lease of life in the sport.
Yeah.
Because for 15 years, it's, oh, what's this? It's IFL and Frank said this, and, you know, actually you look at it, he didn't quite say it like that, but you don't ever look at it like that. He says that, you know, one of our fighters has gone to him, one of his fighters has gone to, you know, and it's like, it is draining, but you don't give up because we're winners and we're just desperate to win. So you never give up, and we would have probably gone on for another 20 years, not standing each other, hating each other,
miserable, draining, and
never
actually,
meeting.
you know, I mean, maybe we're more pleasant people now.
I'm telling
I
you.
don't know.
I can see a Christmas dinner. I'm telling you, I'm
it's-
upgrading it.
no,
I'm upgrading it.
Don't get carried away.
I'm upgrading it. Watch
But
me. I
the,
called
the
it first.
promo and stuff like that. It's
That was
so good for
unbelievable.
No,
boxing.
I've never seen anything like it.
we're just hating on Ben Shalom there.
But is this going to be like? Is it going to be an ongoing thing? Hopefully.
Definitely.
I mean, as a boxing fan, it's good
it's
for
a great
boxing.
concept.
It's amazing for boxing.
It's a great concept. He's going to want revenge after we win this one, so of course we're going to keep doing it. This is you know, it is brilliant. I mean, I've got to tell you something. You sort of wake up, you know, click your fingers and wake up and think, bloody hell, you know, I want to watch this. I'm a fan. That's what I am. I start when I was a kid. I was a nutty boxing fan. I had relations who boxed for a living, professional fighters. And I can't believe what's happening now. I really can't. And it's been good working with Eddie. And say how it is. I was found it difficult at the moment doing this was it stare off or face off up there we had to do. It's all quite, all that side of it's all amusing and funny. But it's quite pleasant to sit down. We've had some really good talks about the future and things that can happen. And I think there's going to be some great news down the line, some really good news. And this is exciting times for British boxing, world boxing, for everybody involved in the sport, and more importantly for the people who watch it, the people who buy, who pay for it, pay for these fights to make, you know, to see them. They're going to get great value for money.
There's a
Fabulous value for
question that I think a lot of the boxing public would like to know. Are you going to work together in the UK as well, or is it only when the Saudis get involved?
Yeah, there'll be an announcement soon. We will be, and we're looking forward to it.
Great.
It's so obvious. I mean, that's the mad thing about it. It's only when you do it you go.
Yeah. And you think,
Why
why didn't we do it? Yeah,
Well, what I will say to you both is credit to you both. We said it on the broadcast and we'll say it to you both now. Best two promoters in the world and coming together and making something that's really, really special. So thank you very much, both of you. Appreciate it. Yeah, we'll let you lot decide who's the best and who's not. Yeah. The competitive side will always come out. I'm liking the energy between them.
Yeah,
man.
no, look, it seems...
And you heard it, and you asked the question that we needed, which was domestically.
Yeah, it seems very genuine. I just want to know we're running out of time, I just wanted to get that in before the end.
No, you did the right thing.
That's what we want to see next. That's got to be the next move. Like, obviously, you know, they're being paid really well, the fighters, to go to Saudi, and that's understandable why they do that, but we can't forget about the fans back home as well. And for these two, the top promoters in the world, but both from the UK, working together in the UK, I mean, like I keep saying, boxing's in a really healthy place right now.
I would go to Steve Bunce to ask for the final word, but he's obviously not here. Buncey's doing what Buncey does as always. Carl, I'm just going to ask you just a few messages back home. It's been a pleasure, by the way, as always, to be on the broadcast with you. But any messages, any excitement in terms of everything that we've got coming up, whether that's the York calls and now these special events that we've got going in the Middle East?
It's a huge boxing event, but this isn't. I mean, it's more than boxing. If you're a sports fan, you got to be watching something like this. This is, I mean, it's iconic. It's an iconic event. Really is. Everything involved with it, the fights that are on it, the Undisputed fight at the top of the bill, Frank and Eddie working together. Iconic is how I would describe it. And if you're a sports fan, never mind a boxing fan, I think you need to be watching it.
Well, you heard it right there, the words from former world champion, good friend of mine, Carl Frampton. Iconic, that's the only way to describe what's been the promo, the superstars that have brought belts out, and of course the event that we're looking forward to on the 1st of June. All the marbles are on the table in the Undisputed light heavyweight division, but it's a little bit deeper than that, 20 years deep, as Matchroom and Queensberry get ready to do it all. We look forward to seeing you then. I'm sure we'll see you before then as well. See you soon.